See if the chat works. Banana. No drop frame so far. I'm happy with that. Let's check if Twitch is okay with that as well. I'm wondering how many people will boycott Twitch and how many will actually still use it.
Has there been any communication so far? I didn't read anything.
Communication in what regard?
Like communication from Twitch as a reply to the ban.
They said it was about nudity.
Okay, so we knew that.
We still don't know if it was Wurstrogen's ass or if it was Iloe's pole dancing or the nipple on the graphics. Mystery.
I bet it was some old school pixel nipple.
No, because that compo was afterwards.
So, we don't know. Anyways, stream seems to be doing okay. No frame drop. People in the chat, please let me know if volumes of our guests are okay-ish. And yeah, I'm going to take this wonderful opportunity to get my beer because I haven't got mine yet. And you guys can read the chat if you use gopher, gargaj, and alkama on the link that I gave you. Because I really don't know if people are going to use YouTube or if they're going to use Twitch. Anyways, I'm going to get my beer and then spam the stuff that we're about to start. And I'll leave you guys to talk about Evil Shader and how great the shader shale downs were, I guess. Be right back.
I think that's what got the revision banned.
Yeah, it's professional YouTubing starts the stream and fucks off.
Too many broskis.
It's not too fluent on my end here, the fractal stuff.
Yeah, no, it's hashy. But since we know the prod, it's fine.
That looked quite insane, to be honest. But then again, shader showdown remotely. I'm not sure.
Oh no, but he's always like anyway. Even in live, he's learning his tricks. So basically, I think he can do that on stage. And he has done at Cookie. I've seen it making a shader like that. So it's quite impressive. But it's not a many line of code. So I think he really trained. And I think I witnessed one of the stream a few weeks before where we tested this kind of isometric 3D. So it was really definitely prepared.
It's the morphing that I was genuinely like shocked by because it just came out of nowhere. It was like no iteration. It just like first try, boom, here you go.
Yeah, but he does that each time. Like if you look at every of his showdown, it's always like that. Like he blows everything in the last minute. So sometimes, most of the time, it works. We saw on the final that it was a bit dangerous sometimes, but it's such a beautiful shader.
Yeah, we had a short discussion about the overall setting, if it might be interesting to sort of have, similar to the fast compos, sort of a theme, and then 25 minutes go to have more comparison, as opposed to, let's say, probably memorizing lots of stuff you prepared beforehand.
That's what we did with Cookie Collective. We did that before, like the shaders were basically on the theme. We had flowers, I think, or like we had I think it's even sometimes they start the show by giving 3 words, and you have to make a shader on this theme. It's interesting.
It's been discussed. Actually, if you look up the thread, I think that's been discussed early on after like the first or second year that we should thematize it. But I don't know if it would be a better experience. I think it would depending on the word. It's like if you ever played Pictionary, when you get a word and you know how it looks, but you just can't draw it. Or you just can't visualize it mentally, then you're kind of screwed. And I think it would be. I'm not saying it would be unfair because it's an added layer of technicality, but I think it would just be a lot less fun to watch.
I don't know. Like the real question is, are you disqualified if you don't respect the theme, and who is deciding that? Because for now, like showdown is most
if it's a voting, then clearly people can vote against you because of you not sort of adhering to the theme. But then again, like who's going to force people to vote correctly? That's already a
exactly.
question.
When you see a shader like this one, I
guess people's conscience should force them to vote correctly, which is already an issue to begin with. So
yes, but people at their consciousness are usually left at the info desk where the beer is being sold. So don't trust that too much.
But are you guys talking about having a theme in the shader showdown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that might be interesting.
To break the I learn everything by heart, but at the same time, I think it's still quite cool and still quite a challenge too.
Could be interesting to have like a party that does that just to be different, because I mean, having like a regular shader showdown. Well, the reason I started Shader Royale was because I was a bit tired of the shader showdown format. So I think would be cool to have like different kind of versions of shader showdown instead of being just always the same format. Not to like be completely different, that people need to train in a different way, but just to make it, feel different and not boring, more of the same.
Well, to be fair, Shader Royale only works online because you're not getting 8 computers on stage.
I'm curious how that will work on a physical party, actually. Like if the people are coding in their seats and you only see the result on the big screen and people like dancing in front of the screen and stuff like that, then people are in the party place on their seats coding and seeing the work on screen. So that's my conceptualization of how that could possibly work. What do you think about that idea?
As an organizer, it's just a lot of red flags in terms of in terms of like just the execution, because like then you have to get their video signal somehow on the big screen. So you can either have them physically connect to a video mixer.
The network already does that. So
the network, you send the shader. So basically, you just need the big machine, like Shader Royale. If you use a Bonzomatic
my machine is 970 and it runs like 12 shaders. They're just minimized windows, so they're okay-ish.
Yeah, it's working. It's been working.
So I don't think it's a problem of machine. It's just relying on the network. If your network crew is not Belgian, you might be in trouble.
Plus, the funny, if you imagine revisions, they have people with camera, like a network camera also. So maybe they could go into the room. And if you know where the coders are, like which table they are, you could imagine even filming that and having video feeds of people in the middle of the crowd trying to code their stuff. Maybe
that would be interesting. I think that would be really cool. I mean, we already have CGI with the camera going around and revision with sending it via radio signal or whatever it is they use exactly. So I think that would be an interesting concept, but I don't know. I'm a bit biased because it's sort of my baby idea of sorts. But yeah, definitely having shader showdown also works a lot better in front of a live audience, because you're like facing the other person and on stage it's a lot more pressure. So I don't know. It's just different. I think the concepts are somehow different, and people seem to be a lot more towards doing shader jams. When I say people, I mean shader coders. I think they're a bit tired of the competitive spirit of the thing, which is also why I haven't been pushing new shader royales immediately after revision. I think people are more.
I'll say this: at least the voting in online events is much better, rather than having people screaming and then everyone on the stage goes, and then people scream again, and then and it just goes until someone like, oh, screw it,
That's part of the fun, I think. Like it's unfair sometimes. it's
part of the fun the first time. Then after the second and third time, it gets increasingly irritating.
Yeah, and it ends up being Havoc who is judging who actually won at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, 4 minutes still left to go. So yeah, I wanted to show this shader in particular because for me it was a bit of the highlight of the whole shader showdown part of a revision. I had the prime seat because I was helping commentating it, and this was just I was completely mind blown. I had seen Evil do some transforming, morphing stuff before, but the dimension of this and just coming out of the blue, completely looking so good. The first time we saw it, it already looked so good when it first did the transformation. completely blew me away. It was totally mind killer. Were you guys following Gopher gargaj?
I was.
Yeah.
Me too.
I was there.
I mean, this is also in particular from the angles and also the transition that just is going on here. That is pretty amazing. It's so much detail, but it's still quite crisp in everything. So that's also colors. Good choice of colors.
Yeah, definitely. I think Evil improved his style a lot. Like, he used to get a lot of shit from some people that he's always doing the same style, but I think he really refined it and like changed it up in a few places that really makes it go into different directions. So I really like his style.
It's when the little street lamps showed up. That's when I thought,
Yeah.
oh, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
There's detail, like it's not blowing like the previous shader were mostly like tons of glow everywhere, like waves of light, etc. And this one is like tiny micro details. It's so cool.
Well, I mean, that's the nice thing about fractals, isn't it? That they just have tiny micro details by design.
Infinite detail.
Yeah.
You could zoom forever. Like that's the advert. That's how they sold it.
Not quite, but close enough. But yeah, gargaj, one thing that I wanted to ask you about, as the creator of Bonzomatic, how do you feel about all the shader showdowns and shader royales and that stuff? Do you feel like the tool still has a lot of way to go, or do you feel like my job here is done?
My job was done the first year. Like it was mostly just stability and platform agnostic stuff that we were doing. The only creative thing that I added a couple of months ago was just the previous frame thing, because I thought that allowed for a bit of creativity. But I think it's one of those things where if it doesn't have too much bells and whistles, then people are sort of forced to be creative. People keep saying like, oh, we should have render targets and multi-pass rendering,
and compute shaders so. And yeah.
Compute would be why would you want to have compute? What exactly can you do with compute that you can't do with a pixel shader?
I guess you kind of need a relation between multiple shaders to really take advantage of the compute shader.
Yeah, exactly. But then it wouldn't really be fun because remember, it's a visual sport. So my idea was always to make sure that it's fun for the audience to watch. And when you're watching someone work with render targets, that's rarely fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always on a single screen and a single shader. I think allows the audience to focus on that one thing, and then it sort of makes it like, you know, imagine just for the sake of the argument that it would be not a shader, it would be something like an actual coding in C or something. All you would see is someone starting up the same code over and over again and changing parts that you wouldn't see. You wouldn't have that sort of visual feedback that you have now. And I think that's very important for the entertainment factor of it, because otherwise it would be just boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm forced to agree. Alkama, you participated on a few. Do you agree with that?
For me, I completely agree. And basically, limitations are part of our scene too. So we are not here to satisfy every single demand. And I don't think it's a good idea to have. Like Bonzomatic, the goal is not to have a complete tool able to do everything. And in Shader Toy, they don't have like a time limit. It's mostly just about like you can spend hours on your shader and refine if you want. So they already have the tool to do that and the platform to do that. Here it's really about just 25 minutes. Do you see people wielding tons of buffers? And as soon as you do that, you start to have tabs so you don't see the whole code on screen.
Yeah.
And it means the audience, like maybe you will spend half an hour on something and the core of your code will never be seen or almost never be seen. So it's a bit, it will be a bit sad, I think, and a bit too magical. I prefer when it's basically flat.
I like the idea that people use it not just as a competition tool, but also to prototype stuff and to practice, and that's great, I think. And but that's not the primary purpose. That's just a happy accident that happened. I think a lot of the people, when they request something, I think I usually just recommend them like, hey, look, there's the source. You can make your own version if you feel that suits your needs more. I think. The same way sports rules are generally kept to the minimum and not changed often, just to make sure that like it's both fair and both entertaining. I think we're always looking for equality in opportunity, not equality in outcome.
Definitely.
Plus, you can compare the previous years. Like if you start to have too much change in the tool, it starts to be like when it's sport, you change all the different tools. Like in tennis, like they have better, I don't know, better instrument or better stuff. Like it would be hard to compare the evolution of shader and the evolution of the sport itself.
What I feel a bit weird about the shader is that, about Shader Showdown format in particular, is that it becomes a bit too much of the same. I mean, there's still clearly room for innovation, like, for example, evil shaders here and ideas to come out, but it always seems like you either go 2D and you're probably going to have trouble getting the votes because people seem to prefer 3D because they think it's more complicated by weird reasons that I really haven't fully understood yet. Or you go 3D and then it's usually a ray-marching thing, and maybe you do some fractal to have more details, and maybe you do some special colors, or maybe you do some, it feels like it's already in a bit of a box somehow.
What do you expect? Like 4D? Like you already have 4D, in fact, because you have time.
I don't know.
But I think the previous frame will change the game, because I already know that a lot of people will investigate harvesting some pixels. Like you could use it's not just a frame with pixels. You can actually store data for the next frame.
Yeah,
if you're clever enough, like
it's a bit limited though. Not many people use it on this Shader Showdown in Revision. I think 3 people. Writer also used it.
But it's when it's bit new. 2, they did a new, if it was this version of Bonzo.
And Gerzombeck also used it, I think, for the particle things that he used.
So you will see it for motion blur. You will. I know that Evil already started working also for motion blur or things like that. You will see it for depth of field maybe, and I know already that they started doing some like basically using some lines that are not really displayed, like the top one or bottom one, to store some data for the next frame. Or you could even devise a system where you actually randomize location of pixels that you can find back and just place data there. So it will be like shitty pixels, but in the middle of the picture, you will never see them, and you can really be creative there. So
it becomes a state machine effectively.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, the inspiration for that was, I've been watching Minecraft from a long time, into just the way that game evolved, and the 2 really big jumps that it had when it comes to all of a sudden it blew up was the redstone when it was implemented, which effectively allowed the player to do circuitry, and then the next one was the slime block, which allowed blocks to move around, and all of a sudden the creative people just were able to with very simple mechanics, we're able to do a lot more. And that's what I was looking for, to allow something very simple that it's not hard to understand, that can be used in simple ways, like in Minecraft Redstone, you can just use it to open a door or something, right? But at the same time, you can build an entire CPU in it. So that's what I was looking for in this one as well, to like, okay, well, if you have the previous frame, you can make sure that you can store data in there, even if it's just 8-bit, which people complain about. It's like, look, it's limited, okay? Like, just roll with it.
And that's what all the first complaints that people have. Like, I want to store so much more stuff here. This becomes a bit too limiting.
You have 1080p pixels. Just use them all if you want to.
Sometimes it's
just use
one
enough. More. It's you know how to combine 2 bytes into one, right? Like, that's not complicated.
They've been using it. I'm looking forward to see what more the people are going to do with that specific functionality. Anyways, it is 8:30, so let's get the show officially on the road. Welcome everybody to Mystery Demoscene Theater 9000, Season 6, Episode 2. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I have no clue anymore. I stopped count. I have with me 3 awesome guests. Gopher of Alcatraz, which is somewhere there. The creator of Forklang, long-time senior, a lot of different stuff. What other groups are you on, Gopher, besides Alcatraz?
No other group.
Just Alcatraz? Alcatraz for life?
Alcatraz for life.
Okay, I can respect that. Then I have Gargaj, which is also a legend in the demo scene of Umlaut Design and Conspiracy, and also does a lot of other stuff. Scene org staff, administrator of Puet, and coder of little things like Bonzomatic that we were just discussing. And then we have Alkama, musician for Spectrals, and also member of the Palm, and Calodox, also another legend in the demo scene. You're not a legend. You're a legend
Not a
wannabe.
legend. just a spinner. I've been there for a long time, but that's it. It's not a legendary.
Before we get started, do you guys want to give any comments about Meteorics, or does that feel like it's already run its course and everybody has said what they want to say? Do you guys have any specific comments? Anything you were surprised about? Alkama, I'll start with you maybe, because you were involved in a few of those.
No surprise, no specific surprise. No, it's a choice. So every choice is hard. I've never been in the jury, so I don't know how it works. I just presented a few of them with the help of Dojo, but I really know that it's always hard to choose.
Subjective votes are subjective.
It's subjective. Nominations are subjective also, and winning it is just an honor. But I think most of the time you should be already happy to be nominated there. And even if you are not nominated, sometimes it's just by accident, because like too many good prods, or maybe the jury had a specific taste. So.
Spectral's not having been nominated for Newcomer Award, that was weird. And you mentioned that specifically, that it was probably because you and Wade were involved in the project, but they probably should have been nominated as well, because it was a huge coding effort on itself.
At the same time, it's a choice. Like if you look at the 5 nominees, they
all deserve to be there.
They don't demerit. So I think you need to choose at one point, and it's a choice like the other. Plus, I think we had our fair share of nomination. So when you have already 3 of them, I think you're already occupying the terrain.
You're good.
But no, what we said and what was strange, that it was basically the only one we bet before. Like we said, if there is one that we are probably be nominated on, it will be New Talent, and this one made sense. The rest is discussable, but the New Talent made sense, and basically that's the one we weren't nominated on. So that's how it goes.
Gargaj, do you have any thoughts on the Meteorics?
My only comment is that I still haven't received my diplomas from last year. So
I have to talk with Nina about that, I think.
No, it was Dojo's fault. Everything is Dojo's fault.
Okay, good enough.
Don't be mean with Dojo.
Maybe you can just get a combined thing next year for everything.
Yeah.
Gopher, do you have any thoughts on the Meteorics? Anything you would like to add, or just shall we move on to the next topic?
Not much to add. I mean, it's personal choices, objective choices. It's a mixed bag usually. So you always find something where you would say, hey, that was my personal favorite. Why didn't it win? So it's fair and square.
Yeah, I kind of stopped, not caring, but like not being outraged if something doesn't match my taste. I used to be a lot more when I was involved in the scene.org awards. Now it's just, okay, subjective vote is subjective. People will prefer whatever people will prefer. Anyways, we have a long show today, so let's move on to actually what happened at the party. We will only cover PC compos and executable graphics compos on this particular show for today. We're going to start things off taking a look at 4K executable graphics. A lot of awesome releases at the 4K executable graphics. Last year was already, and this year was also pretty darn good. I'm going to just show a few, and if you guys have any particular favorites they would like me to show, I can also do that. I'm looking for Submit from YX, because she always does a lot of stuff for the executable graphics. And this one...
You like that for no particular reason.
But no,
because it's excellent. That's all. Like,
because
no other explanation. It's just fantastic.
It's a personal preference.
Just a personal preference.
No king shaming.
This one, the rank of this one is outrageous, I think. Like,
it got.
My only problem is
14th place.
The vote is strange, so I don't know what happened there, because frankly, it's super cool. So.
What happened was that this compo has gotten brutal over the years, and even a good idea doesn't get you there anymore. I mentioned this on Discord a couple of days ago, that like this has become one of those compos where your initial decision where you decide what to do is your final compo ranking. Because it's no, all of the technicalities are fairly close on the level anymore at this point, that like it is all about what's on the picture.
I would still say that technically, when IQ does something, he always smashes the ball out of the park, like through someone.
But if you think about his entry last year, it wasn't exactly technically complicated in terms of it was just an artistry that hasn't been done because no one else has done a character before, and it was done really well. It wasn't like there was no real new technique in there that no one ever knew or realized.
Well, for you, maybe not. For me, it was definitely some stuff that I hadn't seen before. So
he did also do that surfer boy already in a I don't know, one of his daily coding challenges.
But that would have won the competition as well. That's the point.
Yeah, but I think he has a perfect eye for lighting. Like he's at the stage of a director or photography guy, where he knows how to place everything, and even when he deconstructs the picture, he explains tons of things about light placement.
His videos are really good when he goes into depth of how he made stuff. Anyways, this is the entry from Molliv, also pretty decent. I think this is path traced, but someone correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think it is. Yeah.
And the caustics look very
cool. And I like the noise. Everybody complains always about the noise, but I think remove the noise of this one and it's more basic. I think it has grain like a photograph. So
if you check the zip, it has a version with noise and without noise there.
Was this the one where I think one of the person commenting on the stream, I think Subi was said like, oh, I like the how he added some extra noise to make it more grainy. I was like, that's not that's not how it works.
Yeah, but path tracing works the other way around. You have to simulate the path tracing.
We should explain maybe. There is a run limit, so even if it's one graphics that is generated,
I think it's 30 seconds that you have time
so
to render.
You cannot have an endless time. It's not like Pixar where you could have a farm of server or stuff like that. And it's not just about the size; it's also about having 30 seconds of budget on the compo machine. So you have to be careful.
So this entry was by Blackle, also pretty good. Looks a bit too plastic for me. I don't know. I think that might have cost her a few points, but other than that, looks pretty good. And the Revision pseudo logo there in the Coca-Cola is also a nice touch.
I think again, like the top 10 is just what's on the picture. Technically, they're just so close to each other that from that point on, it just, if you have a character or if you have a story, you automatically get more ranking than just something that, and I don't mean to belittle it, but it basically looks like an ad from a magazine, right?
I think for that picture. Sorry.
No, go on.
I think for that picture, it might have been better with the background, so you can have some sort of refraction in the liquid. It looks more like candy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want to lick it.
I also felt like it was missing the background on that one, so I can see where you're coming from.
I see where she was going with it. She was going for that classic 90s Coca-Cola ad that you would have in a Bravo magazine or something, full page, all it needed is a text at the bottom.
Or it could be a sticker, something that you just stick everywhere you want. Like, you used to have the sticker with strange shapes back in the days. It could be something like that.
Or like a billboard,
This one was clearly a reference to Evergreen thing. It felt a bit unpolished. I mean, the water looks okay-ish, but the rest looks a bit fake. So I don't know. Felt a bit rushed, in my opinion.
But again, it is placed at 8th place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it proves my point. It's about what's on the picture, not necessarily how it's executed.
It's a good idea. It's just for the fun. Like you have to just have the good idea to do that.
I mean, you have to hit a certain quality level, but above a certain quality level, it's just like what's on the picture.
This one was made by Alien, was also pretty good. He's been getting better at doing some coding stuff. So this mixed a few different things. I think the biggest compliment was YX saying that I have no clue how that was done. For YX to say that, this means this has some weird shit happening there. So congratulations, Alien, for that. You guys have any thoughts on this one?
I like the design. I like the design of it. I know because I read already that it's artifacts, basically hidden artifacts. But I've never seen artifacts like that so smooth and all. So I think it's very cool.
It does look like a collection of Ray marching misses.
Yes.
Yeah, but beautiful Ray marching.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful misses.
It's a glitch done right. I taught you well, Alien. You caught all the bad shit that I did, and you made something beautiful out of it. Talking about something beautiful, Autumn Years by Prism Beings. I love the color grading on this one. So good. Really great stuff. I thought this one would have placed a lot higher. We ended up with another sofa getting placed a lot higher, but this one felt a lot more attention to detail and like the mood. Like really, the colors really bring out the feeling of some sort.
But at the same
there
time,
were
like
discussions.
yeah, it's just exactly the color grading just sort of burns out the whites in not the brights in the image, so it's harder to make out what's on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great frame photo, just not good for a compo because on a compo you have to be very sort of in your face and very deliberate about these kind of things. Otherwise, and like it's great, it's just not for competition.
Where else were you going to put it?
Yeah, because when you have something
that's the eternal problem, isn't it?
But at the same time, I think it's the only one where the light looks like real light. Because if you think about it, it's really like you can have that in your flats, and it really looks like that. Even if it's overexposed, even if it's a bit strange and not in your face, it's still like it looks like a real picture in a way. Like the lights look like a real light.
Like a real photo.
Yeah,
that was insane. What really. That's another question that we can try to cover a little bit for a couple of minutes. Like, people are going to end up trying to make these entries to win. And haven't we, as the demo scene, gotten a bit past that? Like, shouldn't we just be entering to show what we've been working on? Should we still be aiming to win the compo? I think I'm asking this question more for Gargaj, since he was one who brought it up. Like, should the aim still be to get number one?
That's always tough. I think as someone who tried not doing it and then tried doing it, pile driver. It's one of those things where I think it's your initial decision of like, yeah, I'm just gonna make something and it ends up where it ends up, and then be okay with like, okay, there are 21 entries and it ended up like 6th place, and it's better than I thought. Like,
but I'm okay with that because I wasn't aiming for first place anyways.
I think and then if you do win with it, then it's a bonus. So I think just your own expectation management is what's important.
We should probably have some seminars of expectation management for compos at this point, because it feels like a lot of people still don't completely get into the frame of just contributing for the self-contribute. They don't even want to participate because they're afraid that they're like not going to place well or be judged wrong, and that's completely anti the demo scene spirit, in my humble opinion. Like, you should be showing what you've been working on and not really.
I think that should be my title, Chief Expectations Manager.
What about this one by Mercury? Also pretty good. I like the motion on it, particularly.
Yeah, it could have been a bit stronger, I think. I mean, for the sheer impact of that ball, normally.
Yeah, it looks very. Yeah, it doesn't move enough.
Okay, yeah.
I think the idea is cool, but it's been executed also by someone else. Like, we had a lot of clash in those compos where people had the same ideas, and yeah, really see that, I think.
This one by Evil Rio, I think the Chinese representative here at Revision. It's pretty decent. I mean, it looks a bit plasticky in a few places, but overall, I think it's a pretty decent.
I really want to know how he did the modeling.
Yes.
Was it just by hand or some sort of tool-driven technique? Because that's a lot of spot-on modeling there.
There is since it is executable graphics, I guess you can have 3D stuff in it. Wasn't there a limit of the executable? It's 4K.
It's 4K, yeah.
So I think you can put a few triangles in and get away with that.
You can't put any triangles in that looks like this.
You could also try to do an SDF trick like Blackle did on that video of hers.
I was thinking about the bunny of Blackle.
Calculate like a sinus and cosinus of SDF stuff to do like a composite. So that's
that's what a question is, like, how do you get to that level of detail in 4K? Because you can do it. You can do it. The IQ style hand modeling.
Yeah,
you're just gonna go insane halfway if you're not IQ.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious if it was something tool driven or just like old fashioned, ass to the chair. start coding.
Yeah. I'm
That's a
tempted
cool
to
thing,
think it was Blackall's thing, but it would be interesting to know Evil Ryu's commentary on that or explanation. Don't know what is the proper word to say it. Anyways, let's take a look at the next one. Third place. This one was cool for the very particular details on the back. If you notice pictures of the thing in different shapes, you conclude that he had to re-render or do multiple renders of the similar thing just to put those pictures down. That's like really nice touch that really shows extra effort, and it really helped composite the whole thing. So really good done, really good job by Fizzer.
What I wanted to say before about the other sofa image. The actual picture on the wall that was missing. You had like 2/3 of the screen with the wall. some picture, photo, whatever. Touch it up a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is pretty nice. And here maybe a bit too much blur. So mix or exchange that with Mercury's will probably make together a good picture.
Because it was a really fast kick on the ball. That's why it's moving.
Yeah, I like it like that because it looks like really like an accident. Like I wanted to take a picture of this, and the kid just threw a ball. So it's really like I think it's too much, but it was intentional. I think it's not an accident that it's too much. It's like I find the idea very cool. So yeah.
Okay, next, let's take a look. It's the sofa, floating sofa. So it's also pretty good.
This was easily my favorite from the whole compo.
Like it seems a bit simplistic, but there's so many small details, like just the clouds and the wrinkles on the sofa. That's really.
It's that mid-80s CGI feeling. No. It's not just the rendering quality, but the composition. If you think about like 80s MTV videos and stuff like that. That spot on like early CGI weird. All it like, well, I think I wrote it in the comment that all it needs is like a television on the sofa with a close up of a mouth.
Yeah.
That would have been like super Art of Noise music video, Zbigniew Rybczynski style, you know.
But the curly noise in the clouds behind is awesome. I love that.
The winner, we actually have a video of like stages of work. It's by Newson, and what people tell me, it uses multiple different techniques on it, and that's what makes it great. For me, I just judge it most for composition, and it felt pretty solid. But I'm curious to hear your opinions on this.
Yeah, this looks pretty much like a cover from a sci-fi novel. So that alone probably got it a couple of votes.
Yeah,
but it's also very, very nicely with many details. So whatever the incoming stuff is at the top, stars, the lighting, the twirls that you have, the crash side. So
I don't think ships burn like that. That's just me.
You don't know.
I've not crashed many of them, so I don't know.
Exactly.
Who's
It's
to
awesome.
tell?
Frankly, like I like the fun is that I like it as a standalone picture, like knowing that it's actually an executable graphics and 4K executable graphics it's kind of insane. Because it could fit a standalone compo. Like you could present that in the graphics compo, and probably you would not build the last one, right? In the picture compo. So it's insane.
Right, they're saying that he crashed the ship once and it looked similar. So there we go. Confirmed.
Yeah, valid, you see.
Anyways, let's take a look at animation, animated GIF, and this entry, this compo. Sorry, this is late for me. Whole day handling the kid. That's way too much brain dead. This compo was interesting because it seems to be having a lot more people coding stuff for it than actually drawing stuff, which I think was the original point of being animated GIF. And now it's sort of turned into like only a couple of people drawing some animated GIF, and a lot of people doing like some executable graphics or 4K that turns into an animation of some sort. And the biggest blarest example was the stuff by Nobi, which looks phenomenal. Really love this one.
It's a GIF, not a GIF, right?
Yeah, and gargaj is not gargaj. Gargaj is jar jar.
like giraffe, right?
Okay, people in the
that's
chat,
very
I want you to start humming Koshio and Sprit because I'm not gonna bother looking up that to play it. So you guys can know it. Nobody's saying this literally has the same lighting setup as my executable graphics entry. Just copy the folder and change the SDF. When it looks good, you don't need to change much. Look really good. I like, and the metal and stuff. The detail on the metal is what really sold it, I think, in my opinion.
This is like for the satisfying, you know, those videos where they say satisfying videos, and you have hours of that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, that could fit like satisfying.
Another one that is satisfying. This one, seasickness.
There's an artist called Matt Chiama who does deliberately unsatisfying versions of those, and it's hilarious.
Like reaching something and then failing completely. Yeah, I saw
Exactly.
that.
It's just the same looping machine that eventually just breaks and completely falls apart. It's one of the. It never stops being funny.
This was pretty good as well. References to Lego and stuff. It was good. I mean, the rendering is pretty decent.
I mean, you could
use Blender for that.
Exactly.
So,
and how do you know it's not?
Yeah, exactly. Which is good to have these kind of compos where you don't necessarily need to code, but I think a lot of these are actually coded.
It's easier to make loops that way.
Mm-hmm. This one also looked pretty good. It feels a lot more serious without
Infinite zoom. You can't go wrong with that.
Always a demoscene favorite.
Worth mentioning that this year the size limit was raised considerably, because in previous years I think it was 2 or 3 megabytes, and now it was 20 or something. So there's a lot more fidelity and a lot less compression artifacts this time, which I wasn't a full 100% hot about. I think the size limit also allowed for focusing on the motion rather than the actual rendering fidelity.
Mm-hmm. This one was also pretty good by YX. Got 3rd place.
This one is even better with music. Like, we have a special version with music on some Discord channel, and it fits perfectly.
I'm pretty sure this was not coded.
No, that's not coded. And it works.
unless Louisa is doing some secret magic behind our backs.
There is magic involved.
That was
that's
nice.
for sure.
And I like it's not a direct loop. It has a few different cascades and then it loops. That's a nice touch to avoid an obvious loop thing. Okay, so
I actually like the ones that are not coded a bit more, because the coded ones feel a bit like, oh, I had an executable graphics entry and I updated it, kind of. I like when there's a bit more handicraft to it.
And this one, I think I need to show the version that I downloaded, because it doesn't run here by reasons that I can't quite explain. There we go.
It doesn't run. It's a GIF.
It's a GIF.
It doesn't animate properly in demoscene. I tried to upload it. I think it's a limit in size. So demoscene is limited to a certain Why isn't this updating on the? Oh, because it's on another screen. Shit. You guys aren't seeing it, but I'm seeing it. I'm gonna make you guys see it. Application window. From tab, in out. Can you see it now?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm virtually certain this was coded.
Yeah.
And I'm virtually certain the shader is smaller than the actual GIF in the end.
That's possible. That's way possible.
But a really cool effect. So, mad props for TD Hooper. Really great stuff.
Yeah. Also, the switching point for the environment that is really on point here. So I haven't seen a glitch in that. It's really swapping the environment and your inside out. That's pretty nice.
See, the funny thing is, if I were to do this, I would just render the 2 versions with 2 environments and then just stitch it together at the cutting point. which is when the wall covers the entire screen. Obviously, I wouldn't bother with doing it from code. I would just stitch it together. That would be a lot faster.
And apparently it's a transform, so that's very interesting. Like apparently it's a valid transform. So
okay, I need to fix the sharing because now we're gonna go into 256 bytes, and for that I need to put the sound enabled. Should be this, this, and this, and that. Okay, 256 bytes. So 256 byte compo really got a huge uprising with the whole love byte thing. We were talking earlier, like function and chaos constructions were pretty much the only parties that still had 256 bytes. And now my cat is having a seizure because I'm not there. Come here, cat.
bring down the cat.
She hates 256 bytes apparently. So
And she's right.
No.
That's a really loud cat.
She's really missing me. She can't find the room with lights. It's here.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's missing you or the food?
I don't know.
Oh,
She's old. Come here. Say hello to everyone. Hello, cat.
Oh.
Here, stay put. So this was the entry by sense install, which was pretty decent. Aptly named Armada.
Oh yes.
I mean, you say pretty decent, but could you do this?
No.
So it's probably more than pretty decent then.
My
Well, I mean,
decent,
this
my
is
decent
very
goes
stylish.
a very long way. My decent goes a very long way.
Just like a bit credit where credit is due. Like, I have no idea how this works, and I made intros before. Like,
Yeah, I mean, this has shitloads of Star Destroyers probably heading over the Twitch headquarters, so good one.
This entry is by Desire.
And we wait for it.
Yeah,
Wait for it.
And revenge after.
I like how it completely doesn't adhere to the original rhythm at all. It's like
Doesn't matter.
there's a version of the Pink Panther by Ron Gerzombeck, who's a progressive rock guitar player, who made a version of the Pink Panther with completely the wrong rhythm, and it still makes sense, but it's like, I know this, but I don't know this, and it's completely unsettling.
This one is the Seraph by Rola, or how do you say it, Gargaj?
Jojola. That's
Jola.
how everyone says it, not just me.
Whoa.
Everyone except me, obviously. This one definitely blew my mind. This one I have no clue how he managed to do this. In 256 bytes in DOS, and then he made a shader toy version. Gopher, you might be more qualified to talk about this. Any clue how this was made?
Well, as far as I know, he for the first time also digged into the SSE instructions, so that's why it's on FreeDOS. And also he had some experiments with compression or code generation. So the SSE instructions, which are quite long, but share common opcodes. So that, as far as I understood, is part of the magic here. Apart from that, it's the usual. I change parameters in a fractal, and it gives me infinite detail again. But the impressive part is the SSE, the compression, and shading wise, I guess it is mostly just iteration glow inverted, so to shade it. But
Okay.
I think this one is a bit underrated because technically it is very interesting. It's just that it's not in your face like what it does. And probably we are just used to seeing too much fractals in 4Ks and other types of demos nowadays.
I was expecting this to win until I saw your entry being shown. Anyways, let's move on to the second place entry, Dragon's Lair by Desire. I think it's Helmut. And it has sound, which is important to have in 256 bytes, according to people.
That somehow had retro vibes from the sound. Like
Yeah, it is like a 40s Ed Wood movie.
Horror music, says writer, indeed.
but it works. It's insane. Like it's one of the rare times where a 256 has actually working music.
Mhm.
It should have the picture in like sepia tone. Then it would work even better.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I mean this is pretty mad as well. Also, I noticed while the compo was running. I mean, now I cannot see it really, but it has a sort of Sierpinski texture on the
Yes.
surface. So that is small details on top. And it
I
doesn't.
wondered if that's just an artifact of the rendering.
I don't know because it looks like doesn't look like completely crazy or random or broken.
But no, because it's a fractal. So
We can ask it.
Yeah, we can ask
Yes.
Helmut. Meanwhile, we have Light Equipped by Alcatraz, which already looked pretty damn sick, and then you had those shadows moving. I'm like, what the hell is happening here? So we'll go for it. Tell us a little bit.
I searched for those 2-3 bytes quite a while to make that light appear a bit later. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you've seen a couple of shader competitions, this is from the primitive side quite simple. It's just mod spheres and the plane. So pretty much some of the learnings from last year's really failed attempt of delivering a 256 byte intro go simpler. And this time I just tried to focus a bit more on what you can add to the scene. And light is something you don't often see. It has been done, but maybe not too often. And yeah, so that's what I tried. And this actually, the first version I had like 2 days after last year's revision, and I didn't touch it until September, I think. And then I did a revisit with a fresh head and found a few more bytes, and then I suddenly could have the light rotating. Also the camera, it's not a real rotation, it's just shifting a bit with the same parameters it uses for the light rotation. So yeah, it's just a combination of many small bits and pieces, but overall it gives a nice impression, I guess. So I was surprised to see it win. My beam slide prognosed a 3rd place.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm happy to have that.
my favorite thing about it is the texture trick.
You mean the instruction that I used?
Yeah.
Okay.
using the CRC to actually come up with a texture.
Yeah, I mean, I could have used XOR. I also have the DOSBox version that uses the XOR. But then again, that was also something like people always complain about, oh, it's always that nasty XOR texture. So that at least gives some sort of, yeah, random value, not too random.
Deterministic random.
Let's move on to the 4K compo, which was also pretty decent. I mean, we had much better 4K compos before at revision, but considering we also have an 8K compo, things end up getting a bit divided. The first entry that I wanted to show is a Rabbit by Bun Square and Pisik. And it's cool because we see Branch's Rabbit finally come to life, which is important. What do you guys think about the 4K compo overall? Did you like it this year?
I think it was not. It didn't have like an oh my god killer kind of thing, but I think it was still above average, right? Just not something that you just go back to like oh my god, wow.
What's still strong, and the cool thing that each year you have a different compo having strong entries, and it keeps it alive. Like previous year, you expected to have 4K all over the place and have a death of the 64K and the demos, and it's constantly switching, so it's good.
What do you guys think about the 4K and 8K thing in particular? Do you think does the clearly 8K makes some sense. A lot of people have been doing 8K stuff. Is the 4K like done with as much exploring as it can be? Should people be focusing more on 8K?
I still don't see really the point for 8K. Nothing really stood out for me in recent years. And I think that most parties didn't take 8K it's only Revision doing it. I think it just sort of shows that like 4K is more than enough. 8K just feels like a weird, unnecessary extension.
Gopher, do you agree with that?
I mean, essentially, yes. The difference might be 64K is just way much more work for most people if they just want to have more content to fill it up. So 8K allows you to sort of go beyond the just few standard shapes we see, actual modeling of certain things. But I mean, obviously, you can discuss if this is worth having an own compo. I do see why this argument might be coming sometimes.
This one, Adam by Brainless Scolders.
Yes, that is actually the first child I'll have in the scene. It's a fork of Forklang and heavily extended. The fun part is I've seen the README on the GitHub from Pestis, and he literally from all the extensions he made, in the end it was like, yeah, I didn't use it all. It was like just work for pretty much, in the end, a little bit on top of Forklang. Happens.
A lot of sidetrans entries this year.
It felt a bit empty to me somehow. It felt like it needed some. I mean, the lighting is good, the ambience is okay, but it felt like it missed some central object or something. I don't know. Might be just me being picky.
In terms of if the concept was like this is how a lighting test looks like before the show, then mission accomplished. I think it looks exactly how a hall would look like, a concert hall, when the lighting guy is testing before the band comes on stage.
Mm-hmm. People in the chat, please let me know if the sound is okay. If it's too loud, too high. I think I'm hearing double, but it's probably just me. And you guys on the stream are only listening to once. But let me know if it's okay or if it's too much or too little. Voice loud, music was quiet. Okay, I increased it a little bit now, so it should be better. Definitely a light show.
I love it.
Next up, Dorf Disco.
Primary colors right of the map.
I must be honest, I don't remember this one anymore, so definitely not very memorable, but it looks pretty good.
I thought you were like, I don't remember this, let's just skip it.
I mean, it got placed well, so it must have been for a reason.
Yeah, the music is cool, huh?
Yeah.
So.
And this was collaboration between Alcatraz and Team 210, so NE7, not NE7, NR4. That's
it. 2 letters and a number, close enough.
Yeah, it's part of 3LN, so.
This is one of those pros that is like a solid 4K. But it is a very 4K. Like, you could not confuse this for anything else.
The music could be the music of a 64K from my era, like in the 2000. It will pass for a fantastic track in the 2000 for a 64. Huh? So.
Then we have Mesh Odyssey by Latitude Independent Association. Guys from South America. Been doing a lot of 4K stuff, and they've been getting pretty good at it. Well, better than they were originally. This one got second place.
They seem to have a thing for like roller coasters.
Gonna increase the sound a little bit.
Yeah, right. Wasn't there like last year or 2 years ago that also reddish, yellowish fractal ride?
Yes,
Wasn't that at Evoke?
I think it was last year. No?
Okay, might have been.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they seem to have a niche.
Yeah, but the interesting bit about this one is probably that it really could be considered some wreck or something from the shapes it has. So it really looks like metallic bits and pieces everywhere, small filaments.
And the ship is cool, huh? Looks good.
Yeah, they had an intro at Flash Party, and then they had an intro at Party. So, and I think that it was the at Party one. It sort of falls into the trap of like, you can't tell what the hell's going on. And it's trying to use that to like smoke and mirrors you away.
This one I definitely loved.
Well, yeah, it's two amazing technicians not trying to tear the roof off it, instead of just sort of like having this baseline of what they're going to do and then just doing it really well.
Yeah, and it apparently took a while. I think I saw it 2019 or something at Revision on LJ's screen already, at least the visuals, and he had the track already as well, but never finished it. I'm glad he did now.
Purix tapping into the atrium, elevated. You know?
I thought it reminded me more of Sincere.
That ballpark, yeah.
But this is Oidos, right? Not Forklang.
That's Oidos, yes. Yeah, we had a hard time getting it to run smoothly. There were some wrong pass indices shuffled around in the shader, so it was actually always rendering twice, and that was one part of the stuttering. The other part was using the Oidos. The Oidos time that came back is always in ticks, in fractional ticks, and those were always clamped to integers, so that also explained very jaggy movement.
the stop motion version.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the tech behind this. Like, is this like distance fields?
Yes.
Because like the small stuff, it's probably a bit of a performance killer to actually calculate hits to something that's not necessarily a solid body.
Oh, I love that part. And the music again, my goodness, like what those people do in 4K, it's insane.
Yeah. Also, it's the track is very nice, and the visuals in combination as well. But the total length of it's not like feeling that long because it's so smooth all the time.
What I appreciate is that it has like a beginning and a middle and an end. It doesn't just sort of quickly, goes into full gear, then stays there for like, the 16 bars and it just ends. It actually has like the classic curve of like many variations of the theme on the song, bit of a breakdown, and comes back, and then it sort of goes to the end. I like it when a 4K has enough space to sort of like spread out a bit and sound like an actual composition rather than like, okay, we ran out of space, you got to lose the second part of the song, so this is where we end.
Beauty. It's just beauty. Frankly, it's beauty. And that track, like, it could be MP3 and.
I think that was a worthy winner of the 4K compo. Moving on to the 8K, this one is the entire Mac scene. Alia represent with ElectroCat. She's been working a lot on the technology for this, and it was really cool to see finally something made out of that.
Metal.
The synth feels so like naive, but at the same time it works with the visuals. I really love that.
The meow is hilarious.
Yeah. Once we get there.
And this noise is also on
GPU.
purpose. This is path tracing, and the noise, from what I heard from Alia, is a kind of pattern that can be faster than standard noise. So this is why it looks like that. It also gives it a little character of some sort.
Yeah, it looks like that classic dither that used to sort of optimize the, I don't know which kind of wavefronts or warps, whatever GPU is in the Mac. But yeah, basically you're just sort of trying to stagger it out across frames.
The best part is coming.
The bongo cat. Let's disclaimer: if your cat sounds like this, please see a doctor. Take it to the vet. If your cat sounds, this is not a healthy cat.
Yeah, and I know why. Because every time the mouth closes, it just bites itself quite severely.
I think this cat is in serious pain. It's not playing the piano. It's trying to get your attention to please help. I am in serious pain. Take me to it.
It looks happy. It looks happy, so it's fine. It just took strange things.
I wonder.
That eye movement looks very upset.
I wonder how the process went to reach that. I mean, did she just find a cat-alike sound and then decided to add that to the intro, or the other way around?
I can't wait until like the making of video that shows her cat that sounds exactly like this. It's like, oh, okay, that explains.
Now everything makes sense.
This is how a cat sounds. Formant filters are always funny.
I think this is the other entry at Revision that used a specific forked version of Forkline. I think this one is called Forkline even.
It sounds like, if you're familiar with the Tipper album Wobble Factor, it has a lot of these kind of like Foreman filtering bass lines. It always sounds hilarious. Specifically the song called Tiny Face.
That sounded like a burp.
It's a farmant, not a burp.
I
want to refresh this and play the next one, which should be DC Offset by Fulcrum. I'm skipping a compo filler.
Why?
Why?
Because I can. That's another question, Gopher. Why are there so many combo fields? We don't need them. They're like, we had like 8 entries overall.
Let's just say we had the info of some of the compo organizers, and he said 8K doesn't look good yet, but that was on Thursday evening. So
okay.
Also, it has a bit of tradition that we fill it up a bit.
This is the best scene from this intro, in my opinion. Looks pretty darn good. Like the lighting on the clouds, not so much, but with the raindrops, it really creates a good mood or feeling to it.
Then it kind of runs out of everything. So you put your best scene right at the start, and then you can't really follow it up. That's really a good idea.
And I think also in this case, this is half of the purpose of the intro was probably to show off the new GPU-based synthesizer. And while I do respect all those attempts on GPU side, I've still yet to hear one that sounds good.
Well, Alia with the cat one, like you had
exactly.
you're the merry cat. Like what do you?
We'll get there. We'll get. No. I thought you meant the other cat.
FMS cat, yeah, that was
FMS
also
cat,
a GLSL.
We'll get there.
But that's 64K. I wonder how much bytes went into the synth. I think FMS cat is on the chat actually. FMS cat, how much of your intro was sound? Because we have heard some GLSL 4Ks before that had GLSL sound as well.
That's some solid coder colors on the screen, by the way. It's the modern version of coder colors. It's still horrible, but it's gamma correct.
And this effect reminds me of one of your shader showdown gargaj.
Well, it wasn't the show. Yeah,
it was not a
shader
jam.
But
the jam, yes.
Yeah, it wasn't called the jam at that point.
Was it this one where you used the HLSL and you broke everything? Me and you.
And then he never called it shader coding or shader jams ever again.
No, you have to stop at the top. But yeah, it's similar in the sense that like it's the hockey stick kind of thing where it's just like anything that has a 45-degree angle and it looks cool. So, and the other principle is, of course, once you have one motif that looks good in 2D, just multiply it infinitely. It makes it infinitely cooler.
So FMS Cat was saying on the chat, probably 5% of that. So 5%, so 5K, around 5K. But it was a 64K track, and it had a lot of elements in it. So
5% of 64K is not 5K.
He additionally said 5XK. So I assume he had an additional X when he typed that, and he meant 5K.
Or 50 something.
Or 50 something.
50 something, like 51K, and just one shader up and down. You cannot beat Gopher on the scene side.
Oh, well, you
Between
certainly
4
can.
Clang and 64 Clang, it's so cool. Like those are so cool.
So Gopher, did you guys had an agreement with Spectrals of using arcades, or was this a complete accident?
No,
we can at least say we were first.
You were first
to play, not to work on it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
it depends actually. This is also a thing that has been. We started that before revision last year. It was intended to be in the 8K compo. We didn't finish it on time, so that is also lurking on hard drive for a while.
The reason I love this intro is that you show off this like gray geometry for the first part, and then we're like, no, bored of that. Here's some 2D stuff. I love it. It's just it's such a troll move.
It's so good.
And if I read it right on Twitter, you also complain about the crashes, the slight crashes that don't have any effect here.
Yeah, not on this. Well, I don't know this one. I think this one looks correct. It's the asteroids that doesn't seem to have any collision detection, which you'd think is, essential for that particular type of game. But yeah, this one is a bit dodgy as well. Now that I look at it,
You have to play them to really feel if they're collision correct or not.
yeah, and then the game over just happens randomly when there's no collision. So like,
The question was just, it's not 8-clang, it's just regular 4-clang. It's just using all 16 channels.
We just put it all, right? It runs.
Come on, it's 8K.
Yeah.
we need place for the cabinets.
And here you ran out of bytes to have like scores on the other people, so you just put zeros everywhere.
No, it's a new cabinet.
Yeah, the funniest part is if you look at those cabinets, there are a couple of those who, due to the random seed, don't even have buttons, or are the Flappy Bird cabinets with just one button, or the two-player Flappy Bird cabinets with 2 buttons.
Here we go.
Another cat.
This guy is a genius.
Yeah, that
And
was
I love that his intros always have counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go.
Yeah, he's definitely been improving a lot.
In case you wanna play along, This was the intro where it was shown in the comp when like Boise and Zoom just sort of virtually looked at each other. It's like, uh-oh.
We have competition.
We're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, also just for the sheer fact of a one-man show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's insane.
And I love his constant like sort of ranting in the scene poetry. The only thing that's funnier than is his GitHub comments. Because you can sort of progressively see how he's just losing sanity as he goes on developing.
Isn't that for everyone? All my projects end up like that. Gargaj, what did you feel about the sound on this one being GLSL?
Oh, it sounds amazing. Like sure, it is synthy, very synthy, but at the same time, it's doing a genre like this modern drum step sound that sounds always very synthetic. Like I don't necessarily like it; it's not my style, but I can respect that, especially in an intro, if someone does it in an authentic way. I think it's just. And of course, this is the most Japanese part ever. Like,
chaos theory.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't spot that the first time. I was too busy looking at intro, going, just being blown out of my mind. Like, uh-oh, we're going to get our ass handed here.
Yeah, I would actually be curious about the composing process on that synth then. Because GPU for me only makes sense if I can massively make use of the cores to create the sound. Otherwise,
he did a stream a few days after the revision where he broke it down, but it was all in Japanese, and that he had a big flashing text that says, "Please don't make me speak English."
But Ferris went there, and I was checking as well, and he ended up speaking a little bit, but he mostly showed like the timeline that he uses, which is also open source on GitHub, which is really interesting. And he didn't really go into depths about the synth itself. So it would be cool. FMS Cat, if you're listening, it would be cool if you did like a short stream or just a video explaining how you did your synth. Would be cool to see.
But my favorite thing is how just sort of like off the races it is from the word go. Like, here's the speed, break the shifter off, we're staying in this velocity, go,
Yeah, also 3 parts of the soundtrack, very different in style, matching the respective visuals.
But it has the classic Japanese anime
and this part and the end is really the best when it says next time graphic direction guy next time. Like this didn't have graphic direction. What the fuck?
Yeah, this was it sucked. you should really find other people.
If I'm ASCAT, you can do graphic direction for me any day of the week.
And weekends.
And weekends as well, yeah. Anyway, second place, first time doing a 64K, and I really love the result on this one. No one's really surprised me here. And also broke the stream, which was added bonus.
I guess this will make it very memorable in our collective demoscene history.
There was an evil deer, and he broke the stream with evil lasers.
That's how you tell it to your grandchildren someday.
Yeah, the collective trauma.
I was trying to watch the compo with my kid on my lap, and when this started playing, he started shivering of being scared of the deer god, and it was like, okay, maybe it's time that we go do something else. And when I came back, everything was down. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened?
Your kid reported the Twitch stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too impressed with the music on this one. I think I would guess this is the musician's first try at 64 playing or anything that's...
I would guess so, and I'm particularly impressed because I didn't get one single help call about that, and normally it happens.
Just feels like, oh, there's a new effect I haven't used yet. Let's just throw it on top of everything.
Yeah, I recognized it pretty early on with the first patch that came in. Okay, I know that patch. But this part is amazing.
Lasers!
You've seen lasers on sharks, you've seen lasers on dolphins, and you've never seen it in top of a deer. Only nuance makes it possible.
And this had some sort of debris vibes to it.
Yeah.
Until the laser came.
It reminds me of that Steel Demo Square.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. And some stuff from Smash as well, from the old days.
Uncovering static a bit.
Yeah.
Then again, Fairlight did have a period where like every single demo or intro they made had a CD in them.
So my question is, did they take full advantage of 64K, or do you think they could still have some other stuff to make it even better?
That's up to their tool set. I don't know. Like, sure, can any intro be better? Always. But that's the question of like how much they were pushing on this one. 'Cause maybe they were comfortably within 64K. So I can't really answer the question for them.
Because for their first attempt at the 64K, it felt pretty well packed to me.
Oh yeah, I did get a slight feeling that it's more like a really well done 4K than a 64K, because it was that the geometry was very sort of, shader.
I mean, in the end,
procedure.
it is ray marching, so it should be quite comfortably in that 64K range with that amount of content. I think they probably spent a lot of bytes that they had on the deer.
This shot is on the money. This final ending is great.
Okay. Anyone want to talk Twitch controversy, or shall we just focus on clean slate?
No, let's go to demo directly.
Yeah. I think everything has been told about Twitch that it needed to be said, so let's focus on this one.
and especially what didn't need to be said.
Yeah. Gargaj, what the hell? This is not your usual style. How the hell did you guys really wanted to try something different? It felt a bit inspired by Altair as well, by Minim from Altair.
No, we were looking at a demo and thinking, oh, damn it, they did our intro. We started on this in 2019. Actually, the first music I had was 2018, but I don't think I ever sent it to anyone, not even to Zoom. But hence the name, Clean Slate. We're doing something different this time, and we just really wanted to do this thing where as much content as possible, and in this very like photo studio, very controlled environment, and then just make sure that like what we can do is let's see what we can do.
And it worked.
I'm very. This is one of the most fun intros to work on so far, because it was all of us contributing. I did a ton of the graphics. Boise did some of the graphics, and then we had this sort of all new working way, because like we moved from Skype to Discord, we moved to GitHub. We automated a bunch of stuff, so every time someone made something for the intro, it popped up like, "Hey, there's a new comment," and it just made a much more fun working environment. Plus, new shader pipeline, PBR, and everything, and it was easy to work with because Zoom just set up the lights and lighting and cameras and everything, because it's the same camera for the whole intro, right? So he set it up, and basically whatever we did looked good. So it was easy to make content because the lighting was so good. So
I mean, that's probably the best showcase for something like PBR. If you say, this is my defined scenario, this is my lighting setup, put in objects.
Yeah, exactly. Just throw everything at it and it will work. Like all we had to, the only fiddly bit was so Boise kind of shoved away the roughness and metallic maps into like the alpha channels of the albedo. It was a bit of annoyance to deal with, but next time better.
FMS Cat is saying that he can't believe it's just Arial Black that you use there on the font.
We use a lot of fonts, but at the start, yes, the 3D fonts are Arial Black. Also, I keep using the O from Career New as like the tunnel, because it's just perfectly round and it's less bytes than using an actual like CSG cylinder. So there's a ton of tricks in there, like how we did the tape and stuff like that. Like
will you guys ever do like a video or a write up explaining the whole thing?
Really want to, don't know how yet, because we're sort of, it's the mediums that like, do we do a post, do we do a video, do we do a stream? There's so many ways of doing it, and each of them has like an upside and downside. So.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, there's really not much to say about this. It's close to perfection, I would say, from all the content. And music is great.
I wish we could have. Not I wish, but like, yeah, this is the first time we ran out of space. We never ever really even got close to 64K with any of the previous intros. This was the first time we're like, okay, we might need to cut a few things.
What are we going to cut this time?
For the final way to getting to 64K, we were like 40 bytes above, and it's actually the reel-to-reel scene with the reel-to-reel tape machine that actually had a tape in it.
You removed the tape?
We removed the tape because it wasn't visible. Like it was like 2-3 pixels, because it was the depth of field would keep. It was such a thin thing, so we removed that, and all of a sudden we were in size. Okay, compile, send, done. Intro, we're good.
So what's the future for 64K, Gargaj?
Someone else. I don't know.
Are you guys already working on something else? Or are you guys expecting to get kicked in the ass before you...
Well, we won the compo and we won the party, so I think we're good for now. But
next revision, I mean, a lot of people have been talking about, okay, I'm interested in doing 64Ks again. So will you guys be competing on next revision? Will they have conspiracy to be battling against with?
Maybe not. I don't want to promise anything. We're started working on a new engine with bit more thought put into size and
new engine. Isn't this like the 4th engine you guys use? Or 3rd?
Yeah, there's numbers after 4.
Like how many times are you going to redo the wheel? Just like you're almost like we haven't reached that part yet, but you seem to be doing like a new engine for every new demo. Wouldn't it be better to just do the demo?
This has been going on for 7-8 years. I think for an engine that's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely, I have to agree.
So it was a bit time to like maybe sunset this one. It worked fantastically, won many championships. So there's just new ideas that we want to, especially like with ray tracing APIs and stuff. You kind of have to design a new engine around it. This one was DirectX 11. You can't have that until DirectX 12. Maybe look into 64-bit executables. Ferris has a new packer coming up for 64-bit squishy. there's always stuff. Like maybe change the mesh pipeline around so that we can do, I don't know, like polygonizing and tessellating distance fields. Like there's also a bunch of ideas that we just have to sit down, try them out. Especially when you do an intro like this that pushes an existing engine to its limits, then you kind of have to see where it fails, where the bottlenecks are, and then think around it for the next one.
I think it's cool. At least you're like pushing the tech on that regard, like thinking on the next generation tech instead of.
Yeah, but also I think stylistically, I was very happy that we did something different, because like we usually did like the classic single stationary shot, 64K, 7-8 scenes after each other with a droning soundtrack. Boom, here you go. And this time we were like, okay, let's have a lot more scenes. I think we ended up 110 or 120 with like, I think 60 unique scenes. So we really pushed it in that sense. And then just everything was moving and had a lot different way of presenting. And I think most people, should at least try to do something when they feel they've been doing the same style for a lot of times over and over. They should try to sort of spin it around and see what's outside the box, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Definitely forced to agree. Gopher, Alkama, any questions about clean slate for Gargaj before we move on?
No,
how and why?
Which one do you want the answer?
What did you use for the sound? Was it Wavesaber, or did you use your own good old buzz thing?
Yeah, it's still that, still singing.
Okay, cool.
It's funny. So about the music, it's funny because I really wanted to make techno, just 4/4 straight beat, and I suck at it. I hated it. I get stuck.
It's 4/4. How can you go wrong?
Exactly, but it was
the bass drum needs to be good, and that's pretty much it.
That's the thing. I sent it to Alkama at some point.
I knew that I heard.
And Alkama was like, "No, crap."
No, I never say no. I never say no.
No, he said it was like, this sounds exactly how it's supposed to sound like, and I'm like, but it's so boring.
Yeah, it's techno.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just didn't like it, and so I found my Hoffman CD.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
Hoffman,
it sounds like Hoffman. Yeah, it sounds a bit.
Of course, he keeps winning all these fucking prizes. Of course, I'm going to knock his style out. Duh.
It felt a bit like.
Now we're back at the topic. Do you do it for winning it?
Yeah, exactly. You do it for winning.
Of course.
It feels a bit.
You have a competitive blood.
It feels a bit weird that you are kind of going into Logicoma style when Logicoma are not doing a 64K. Like, I want to see a Logicoma versus Conspiracy battle again. That would be really epic to see. Like, both of them have it coming with brand new material. Now, I can only hope that it's going to be 2022.
Somehow. Sorry, I just had an internet problem, apparently.
Okay. So yeah, I really wish more people would do 64Ks. And Gargaj, do you have any message for people who are thinking of doing 64Ks? Like, can you
aside from do it so we don't have to?
What about using tools? Do you think it's important that people do their own tools? Like, Writer started doing his own tool and ended up getting caught just doing the tool instead of actually doing a demo. So what is your?
Yeah. I've held a talk. I had a seminar about that last year at Function about like why you shouldn't do a demo tool. Mostly because like
there are already a lot of them around.
Yeah, you should end up doing the demo tool instead of the demo. Like the tool is supposed to serve the demo, and if you're not working on the demo, instead you're working on the tool, there's no tool compo, right? So it's pointless.
Maybe there should be. Why don't we have a Meteorix Awards for the best tool?
Because it's stupid. That's why. But it's like, but also like people work on tools and they make this tool and then no one's using them because they don't want to. They just want to work on the tool, but they don't know an artist, or an artist really wants to use Unity instead. Like it's like you're making something that there's no market demand for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure we keep modding our tool every single time we make an intro, because it's a different intro, so it needs a different tool set. So we did have a good start, sure. We usually, the first intro we do with it is not great. I think we would all admit to that. But at the same time, like the next version, okay, what did we learn from this? So we just go into and iterate, like for, you know, it's one of those processes where the intros themselves serve as these like milestones of development.
I remember
And
Smash
that's
had
how
a
they should work.
similar. I remember Smash had a similar insight that they were usually working on a tool, and then they were too busy working on the tool. Their first entry was actually quite crappy. Then the second one was using the tool a bit better, but then there was always something that they wanted to refine.
It's
with
not
other
just
stuff.
that, but also like when you're working on a tool, it's going to be rough around the edges because it's just a coder's vision of how the tool should work, and then the artists usually have a completely different idea. So just basic usability failures can be one of those things where you're like, okay, we don't have the time to fix this because the party is tomorrow. We can still do the intro as it is. It's going to be annoying, but then next sort of business when we get home is to fix these like 5 things that were super annoying, and all of a sudden there's a whole new workflow. So especially if you've not done a whole lot of demos and intros and don't know how an engine looks and feels like internally, then I think you would make an engine or a tool in someone else's vision that you don't even know. And by necessity, you would be making a copy of a copy. And I think that would be
that usually
counterproductive.
doesn't. Yeah, that usually doesn't end well. In the very least, you should use other people's tools a little bit more, so you can take the best
Exactly.
things away from each one of them.
But then again, like what tools does a coder use? Visual Studio. So you need the coder to be, at least knowledgeable about how a 3D modeling tool works, a sound tool how it works, a video editing tool how it works, a compositing tool how it works. There's so many of them. If you don't have a feel to at least like, okay, I'm going to sit down and for a month, every week or a couple of months, every week I'm going to sit down and make something with Blender or Max or Reaper or Cubase or Fusion or After Effects. All these commercial tools that have decades of UX development in them. And that's what your artist is going to be familiar with. You have to be familiar with to understand how they work, to be able to copy those feature sets. I mean, there's a reason people keep saying like, oh, Unity, oh, the engine is so good. But it's not the engine. There's 100 people working on Unity just on the front end, how to make it the interface look good, or the Unreal editor as well. You're trying to compete with those people, not the engine coders.
Yeah. I was thinking
that was wonderfully discouraging, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a bit of the downside. You're like telling, okay,
but
you need to spend
realism.
like months learning all the tools before you do your own tool.
See, I'm the chief expectations manager.
I'm of the opinion that you should focus on demo first, and then if you really have a need for a tool, then you do the tool. Don't put the horse in front of the carriage.
Exactly, because otherwise tools are meant to automate processes, right? That's what they're for. That's what the tool. The word tool means, right? But if you don't know what the process is, you don't know what to automate, right? Like one of my favorite things is the Squawko demo tool. If you look at CC's demo tool gallery, the Squawko demo tool doesn't have a preview window.
You don't need the one. Everything will be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who cares about how the demo looks, right?
Yeah. Actually, I remember this discussion that there was probably in Puet about maybe we should have a way for people to show their tools a bit better, like some sort of maybe seminars are the most cliche way to do it, but maybe some sort of compo. But it also doesn't make much sense at some point.
The problem with a compo is that it's going to end up in like the same way wild and game compos end up with someone fumbling and like not really getting it and not really getting the best. Plus, like
Yeah, Remine is suggesting a panel discussion. Yeah, that would be interesting actually for
Yeah,
demo
I
party
think
to
so.
have that.
Seminar for one. I think the favorite one I had was when Ferris was doing streams,
Yes,
and he kept inviting people to show their work, or show their
because
work
he wanted to
process
steal
work.
their ideas, how their process
Yeah, that's
works, and then
fair.
I'll steal the best.
Well, it wasn't really stealing. I think it was like redistributing, I guess.
He also gave back his own ideas on his own tool, so it's a give and take sort of thing. But yeah, that's definitely a series that I definitely miss. I wish Ferris had time for streaming, which he doesn't have much these days, but checking how other people's tools work and like interviewing them, getting them to show you the workflow really helps understand how the tool works and like the best practices behind them, why they did it like that, and what you can extract from that for your own tool or for learning their tools and use them.
I think most people are very happy to talk about them, like because of course, like you're sharing knowledge, you're excited to show off these tricks that you've learned, right? It's just that like, and this is weird thing because to go back to revision, we didn't have any technical talks this time.
I think the seminars on revision were a bit copy paste from last year. They didn't really put much thought. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm insulting anyone at revision organizing, but it felt to me like they could have thought a bit better and got a few more people. Instead of just saying, oh, we're having seminars, you could have actually reached out to people and proposed specific things that might make more sense. I think it could have had a bit more thought put into it, in my humble opinion. Again, apologies if I'm insulting anyone that actually did that work and I just didn't notice that.
That's not usually how it works in the demo scene. Like you don't go search for people and asking.
And that's bad.
No.
And
They're
that's
motivated
bad.
to do something.
No.
They're motivated to do something. So
I hear what you're saying. You're completely wrong.
Me or
for any party I organize, NVC and functional, like I was the one asking people who I saw were coming to the party, or I
did the same for inertia. I need the same for inertia.
You have to seek them out because every single demo scener has, they don't
even, sometimes they don't even know in their head that this makes sense to show us.
Yes, exactly. We're delicate little flowers with zero self-confidence would never come across saying like we want to show our stuff. No, you have to come out and ask.
But at the same time, it's also a selection in this case.
And I know that Stan had a very similar approach for Demobit, and the seminars at Demobit were also very interesting. He was like after the things that he wants to know more about, and he asks those people to talk about that. And I think that's the right way to do it for any demo party. Like, don't just expect someone to come and propose you something. Go after the stuff that you want. Have someone responsible for that.
On a higher level, if you think about it, your seminars represent your event of what you want your seminars, like it sort of paints the direction, right? So if you want to showcase an event that feels very sort of music oriented, then you obviously want music seminars, right? So that's what you're going to seek out. But if you only have these current revision talks, I can't really deduce a direction from that. It just felt weird.
But at the same time, you get people that wouldn't have the cards to be invited on doing a seminar in the other kind of things, because I've seen a lot of interesting seminar at revision from people that don't have the card, right? And would have been invited to talk about what they do, and their seminar were spectacular. So
I'm not saying you can't combine the two. I'm just saying that like you should.
If you already booked everyone, like if it's a way where you already booked everyone by yourself and all the slots. I think it's a choice, huh? Either you select or you invite. But I don't think you can have both because eventually it will clash. I think
you can, of course you can.
And on an online event like Revision was, you could even have multiple tracks and have like a proper conference feel to it. You could have done so much more with seminars, in my opinion.
They had a separate stream.
Yeah.
No, but I think
they
probably expected more people to come. Like previous year, a lot more people came and with ID and things to expose.
I just think it could have taken advantage of the online medium a bit better, in my humble opinion. But well, I don't know. I'll talk with Defox about that for next year. Maybe I had some ideas of maybe getting involved with revision organizing as well. So maybe I'll bring that up at some point. Anyways, the topic was one on the chat while we were discussing about tools. Shader Boy does all your tooling needs. Shader Boy is the real meme of revision. It's an excellent tool. It became a meme from the way it was presented. And I really do love Shader Boy, and I love Local Horse, and I'm really looking forward to see how Shader Boy will evolve. It's really useful so far. Anyways, what you're watching right now is one of the demos. It's like an homage to second stage boss. It's called Secret Stage Boss. It's by Gam0022 and Sadake. What did you guys feel about this one?
This is so Japanese.
Yeah.
It is, like, just the music alone. That, like not just the chord progression, but also that everything is like an extra 20 BPM.
Because that's how we roll.
Oh yeah.
And copy-paste second stage boss, which some people were saying that it's probably why it ranked so low. It didn't feel like it had like an extra value. It was just a remake of second stage boss in a slightly fancier look.
In Unity.
Was it in Unity?
I think it said on the slide that it was Unity.
Yes.
Okay. And this one, Sable and Silver, but one deck, 1 December. These guys are made in Notch. These guys are old sceners, but they're not made in Notch. The demo is made.
They are made in Notch. Oh my goodness.
They're old sceners, but they've been rebranding themselves under this 1st of December label, and looks very stylish. So I really like their stuff so far. Do you guys have any specific comments? Do you remember the demo at all from the company?
Yes. But it's far, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. The music is awesome. I love the track. Like this orchestral part is very nice. Like the chord progression is strange. It's a bit. I like it.
You like that it's strange.
I like that it is heartwarming. It has a feel a bit like those old movies. Like it reminds me a bit of like Western movies and all this music. And
Western
sometimes I like
movies?
when it's a bit cheesy, like a bit a la Ennio Morricone. You know, if you listen to that,
It doesn't. I know what you're talking about. I don't see it in this demo.
Listen to the soundtrack again. Put a good headphone. Put it strong, and you will see it immediately. Like close your eyes. Don't look at the
now I'm
picture.
hearing the soundtrack with echo because of this weird setup that I have, so I can't really get it.
So
but
do it again next time. Do it again without the picture, and you will see Ennio Morricone.
So just imagine Ennio Morricone in a large hall.
Sorry, I don't say a lot about the picture, but I'm a musician, so the transition for this part is a bit strange and ballsy, but why not?
And now we go vaporwave.
Yes.
Or something.
Oh, drum and bass.
Batty form.
Prodigy like.
That's breaks. That's not drum and bass.
I don't know about that. I am not a
all called
specialist.
Big Beat, Norwegian Big Beat conspiracy.
Big beat, garage. I don't know.
I really hope it's only me hearing stuff double and not you guys on the stream.
No, we are not. At
It's
the
fun.
time.
So how did you feel about the compo overall, the PC demo compo? I thought it was pretty good. Last year was also pretty decent, and this year had a really good quality entry, so I'm really happy with that. Any particular entries you would like to send out? Gopher, you've been a bit silent, so anything you recall about the PC demo compo in particular?
I mean, I think it was quite strong compared to last year in particular. I think in general, last year you could sort of feel the, oh fuck, it's not happening in real life. It's a replacement online party. And I think that might have led to some people holding back their stuff to sort of do it in front of real audience. And then after a while, everyone realized this shit will go on a bit longer. So probably that's the reason why in pretty much, I think in every compo this year at Revision, we had pretty decent up to very good entries. And strong compos in total. So for demo, the top 3 are, I think, valid as top 3. Just the order might be a bit different for me personally.
And we agree on that.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Dark Matter by Futuristic was a pretty solid demo as well. I don't particularly like the style, but that's just a personal taste. And they got nomination on Meteorics as well. So they've been doing pretty cool stuff, always releasing for revision. Do you guys have any comments on Futurist style in particular in this demo?
This is Unreal Engine, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was the one.
I have great
wasn't
hopes for this group. Like, I think they will do great things in the future. Like, this one is a bit less. Like, I prefer the previous one, but it's still very interesting. And I think like they have a nice, they have a look, a touch of their own. Like, you recognize what they do already. And I just can't wait what it will become in maybe the next demo or the demo after. I think it will be awesome.
Biter is a great graphics artist. I think he's in his NTSC using notch phase right now, where he's just sort of lost in the feature set, and he's trying to use too many of the features rather than actually trying to make something cohesive and well produced. Because clearly he has the chops to make a good 3D, right? It's just that, like, I think he's sort of currently, like, he found the particle emitter button right now in Unreal Engine, so that's what the entire demo is about. So
They already had some particles in the previous demo, though.
Yes, and they always have good particles, and
It's the adapt syndrome. When in doubt, more particles.
no, I think it's one of those things where the moment they will step back and look at a bigger picture of the demo, they're gonna clean up.
and they're gonna be deadly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They will kick serious ass. It will be insane.
But then again, I mean, there have always been demos that were focused around a particular feature set, if not even all the features you have. So
Yeah, no, I'm not. What I'm saying, not saying that like that shouldn't happen. I'm just saying like it shows.
yeah. I mean, what probably helps in this case is, apart from the fact that it clashes here with the camera, is that I mean the rendering technique itself, due to the engine, just gives it a head start for certain things visually, and so totally the overall quality I think is very good here, also for the composition. I definitely remember that one, so don't know what this says about me.
Plus, some people like really loaded stuff also. We are more, like, we come from an age where we have seen a lot of those, especially in the 90s, we had a lot of alpha blended stuff with things all over the screen and all. So we come from that and we already tamed a bit. But I think a lot of people still like having a lot of things on screen at the same time and all. And it fits this public, this audience.
I just remember it being orange. Somewhat the same thing that I have with a lot of adapt demos. I sort of remember the general colors of it. I don't really remember what happened.
Thank you, Roger Ebert.
Anyways, next up we have...
You sounded like a really terrible Yelp review. Was orange 4 stars.
This demo was one of my favorites, and this really made me miss the party place and the huge screen and having this like blasting.
NFX.
That would have been such an awesome experience. Really
yes.
A party techno demo. A lot of people didn't like it, and I can understand that. It's not for everyone's taste to have more in your face, like a boot stomping forever. But I really love it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I knew
awesome.
Alkama would have loved it.
I have only one thing about that. It just came right after another demo. That was such a contrast in mood, and you were just like somewhere else, and then this came and banged you right away.
That was probably on purpose, the same way that the Cocoon demo was after the other Cocoon demo that really looked like Cocoon.
Yeah. And sometimes I really wonder how Uncle X, I don't know, gets a seizure while doing stuff like that.
You mean how he doesn't get a seizure?
Yeah.
So like seeing that while doing it, I mean, just remember how often you see your shit looping somewhere while you do it, and looking at that for hours.
Talent, pure talent.
Or he just doesn't look at the screen, which would, by the way, explain how it looks.
Maybe it's the Squawko demo tool again. No preview.
This was made in cables, so they definitely had a preview.
Oh, that's right.
He probably did like the effects differently, and then he put them together in the sequence and just saw it like once, the final version. That's it. Looks good, ship it. No, I don't know really.
This is one of those things where like the 4-minute demo took 2 minutes to make.
This is a demo where I was happy to be home because I could actually dance. I imagine the revision hall where everybody's sitting, and this would have been terrible. This is impossible to stay.
No, you invade the stage. You're too old for that.
Oh my goodness. I want 10 hours of that.
I tend to agree with Gopher is that like the compo placement was just terrible.
I think that was on purpose to give like an extra.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it right. You can do something stupid on purpose. No, I was really
That's like your opinion, man.
It is. It's also correct.
And also, I'm not so sure if this is, or maybe that's part of the reason it didn't rank so high. I mean, quality-wise, this is pretty great, music and graphics, but maybe just that position after the other demo sort of made everyone like, ah.
Seriously, it's insane.
People were comparing it with other MFX demos and other techno demos. Why do you need to compare techno demos? It's just, it's a different one. How can you have like one favorite techno demo? All the other ones are rubbish. No.
But Gargaj, was that the kind of style you tried to make for a clean slate first?
No, not this kind of techno. It was more French.
More French? What do you mean?
A more housey French?
Like Laurent Garnier?
Yeah, Laurent Garnier, exactly. Yeah. I do have a dub techno remix of the soundtrack, which sounds amazing. But yeah, definitely not the schranzy German Detroit kind of style. Well, I'll say this: this is not even my favorite techno release from Revision, because that Atari 4K with the BCS banging soundtrack. That's probably the easiest, like top 3 releases from Revision.
That was pretty good. More.
I wonder how many different scenes this has actually.
Like 10 maybe. Maybe not so much.
Clean slate on ease.
That is saying 30 scenes or 12. So whichever comes first, I guess. 11. That is correct. Well done, Andy. And I love how Panther just got absorbed into MFX. Like, there's no Holland in the title, it's just MFX.
The coding peon.
Oh, this one is great.
This is Strings by Wake, and they got 7th place. And the cool thing about Wake is that they also made a whole concert, which was pretty much like 45 minutes of a demo with some video in between. So Pixtor ended up doing 3 demos for Revision this year.
I'm just gonna point out that keep skipping the fact that they were all music driven, but you keep not crediting the musician. who, by the way, is a fantastic and more really underrated musician. Lair, she's a fantastic talent. And
Music was really good.
And she always gets forgotten next to Pixter. So I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah, but it's a great symbiosis for those two.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And this is like your wet spirograph dreams of the childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those demos that it's yeah, better watch on your own computer. The encoder
the stream was hurting it so bad.
The encoder doesn't like it. Did you guys feel that this year we had a lot of demos like that needed to be run on the own computer and not encoder friendly? Because we always have a few of those, and I wonder if it's really like not the selling point, but one of the benchmarks of, since it's supposed to be run real time, maybe we should be watching them and not, relying on videos, relying on YouTube to see the demos.
Well, this year and last year was kind of special in that we didn't have a party place aside from the video stream, so that's just how it was.
What they lack is a big screen, because it's really not the same when you're at the party place with this revision screen that is just absolutely huge. The sound system that is quite impressive for a place this large, sounding quite good, and this is a completely different impact, and I think a lot of those demos would have probably not felt the same on such a large screen.
Yeah.
I don't know how people watch it. I watch the compo on my OLED TV, but it's still only 50 inches, so it's not revision size. But I guess a lot of people watch on their laptop or maybe phone, I don't know. So.
NE7 is saying, don't a lot of parties pre-encode anyway, though? A lot of them record the stuff, but recording and live streaming is a different kind of encoding, and you can record a lot closer to lossless and still manage to play it, while for live streaming you're a bit limited to the bitrate that you have.
Yeah, because your provider's going to re-encode anyway. So, whereas in a location you have a lossless video that's going to go lossless on the screen from your computer. So
yeah,
there's no quality loss there.
Probably not 100% lossless, otherwise it would be like 40 gigabytes files, but something close to that.
My understanding is that that's the case, that they have very, very large files for recordings of all sorts of stuff.
Okay. Well done, revision organizing. You managed to buy a lot of hard disks.
I mean, do you not remember that one year where the network went down and Charlie had to run across the entire hall holding a hard disk with the entries?
I don't remember it, but... Yeah, really cool entry by Wake. Next up we had Babylon by Cocoon. And Babylon, this Cocoon demo didn't quite feel like Cocoon. It felt a little bit like Cocoon. Just enough Cocoon-ish to not be alien-ish to Cocoon, and different from the usual Cocoon, so that people wouldn't complain that it's the same Cocoon all over again. So I really enjoyed this one, especially the robot on this part. On this demo, I mean.
It's the best first half of a Cocoon demo ever.
Yeah, it felt very short. I agree.
Yeah, it just ended randomly.
Yeah.
It's like the midsection of Stravaganza's Arise, and then it just ends.
Maybe then ran out of time.
But I like that Teenade is like their resident musician now.
Yeah, that was a good find, and I'm happy that they stick with him because he's really a good producer, and I really loved his kind of sounds.
Yeah, I bought his albums. It's really good. He had 2 albums out on, or 3 albums out on Tympanic. But now I wonder if it's like this soundtrack is like custom built for the demo.
I don't think so. I think it's already on Bandcamp.
Is it?
Yeah.
Don't know if they have a new. He has a new album out yet, so I haven't.
I think it was on a EP or something.
I liked all the details of in the animation of the character, all the metal pieces sort of wiggling and.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a reflection though.
Who needs reflections when you're Cocoon?
Yeah, that's exactly when you need reflections.
But she has wings, right?
That's some creepy ass shit. Very Cocoon.
Yeah, the last scene kind of freaked me out.
And it reminds me of that game.
Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Death Stranding. I absolutely went for the Death Stranding reference as well. Yeah.
True.
Bitbenders by Umber. Is this the other Cocoon demo?
Yes.
This demo made me unreasonably happy.
because of what exactly? They're copying Cocoon,
No, because I hated their previous one. I thought
really?
It was the one that won all the awards.
Well, I didn't like the style of it, but it was a good demo. I agree with you that it's good that they changed the styles, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it was stuck up its own ass so far you couldn't see out. But like, you can't. It's 2020. You can't ship a demo with Commodore screens in them, right? Like, just stop over. And then they come out with this, which is like the complete opposite of like gritty, dark, directed, solid. You know, like they basically like I'm very very happy that they are able to do this, and then they did this. And it's very similar in terms of elements. That's what makes it fascinating for me, is that like the previous one had like, you know, the screens in screens, the striped corridor, all these things. That it's almost like a remix of it, but it just shows you how the same assets with a different attitude, like not same
different
assets,
angle, yeah.
It's that you can do 2 demos out of the same sort of set of effects, set of assets, set of setups, and all of a sudden you have 2 completely different ways of approaching the same thing, which is, you know, what I think what we should call direction in the scene, not just, you know, editing to the music.
This part of the track is super cool.
When I saw this, I was definitely, this is a bit Cocoonish.
This shot is on the money. This is how you. It's really just one corridor and a figure, right?
And that one reminds me of Conspiracy, actually.
Yeah, me too. It looks like a 64K.
And this was definitely Cocoon all the way. But yeah, at least they're trying another style, not getting caught up on the winner demo that they did. So definitely cool to see, and looking forward to see what other stuff they're gonna come up with next time.
Well, worth mentioning that this is also a case study of like how your silly group name sometimes doesn't fit the demo, but you're too late to change it.
But this was, I don't know where it was played in the compo, but it was also quite late, like last third or something. So that was about the time where you could already see that this will be a strong compo, because this might not be everyone's taste, but it's very solid in everything it does, sound-wise, visuals as well. And you just knew there would be 10 more or so you can expect something.
Well, it's always a risk, because then you see this, oh, this is pretty good. Now the real compo starts, and then boom, compo ends. Sorry, crap. Yeah,
Can happen.
It has happened before, right? So.
Yeah, but that's the thrill about it. Also being at the party place, everyone is excited. Yeah, go on. Then oh no.
Nope. Done. This was the Ninja Dev demo, or this is the Ninja Dev demo, Color by Ninja Dev. Slightly different take on their style, more glitchy here and there. I sort of like the other style a bit better, but I can see why they are experimenting and trying new things, and that's interesting to see. It just didn't completely click with me, but I'm curious to hear your.
I love that they try. They are not trapped in their own stuff, and they just want. Apparently, they just want to have fun also, and experiment and stuff. And that's I can only follow and say yes to people that just try.
I really like that scene, and also in general for this demo, sort of the first half was brilliant for me, and the second half was more like, okay.
A lot of cool effects here.
I'm also unreasonably entertained by the fact that Ninja Dev has two members called Capitalism and Profit.
I think it was the colors in the second half that were not quite my taste.
Yeah, I think someone noticed that. Well, someone noted it in the comments, saying this was the first Ninja Dev demo that didn't look good.
Very clean, polished, sort of good, yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth to mention that they have their own tool as well, and the demo is completely WebGL based, which is really cool to see as well. Wait, I felt a bit all over the place. Some scenes don't really fit with the others, like the pyramids, and this doesn't really make sense.
It's a bit ADHD, isn't it?
Yeah, all over the place. Pa pa pa. Next up, Lair by Still, for some the best demo of the entire compo.
Galaxy, universe.
The mood was definitely very touching.
And also here in the first scene, already great use of the line rendering they also had in the other demo.
Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't feel like a very technical demo at all, but it doesn't really matter. It just sets the mood so well, and the build-up, the huge long build-up. Pixter is such a master at that.
Again,
it's also the soundtrack here. Lucid soundtrack is...
Yeah, the soundtrack totally drives it, yeah.
I talked a lot to her after the compo, because I basically told her, like, yeah, you just did something that, like, I'll never be this good. But let's just face facts here. Because to be able to sell a single shot with, like, 5 notes max, that takes talent. You can't learn that.
And that instrument so reminds me of the Captain Future soundtrack from the TV show.
Yeah, just excellent space ambient. It's just so good. Totally love that. It was cool because Pixar was like asking feedback for the original concept of this, like on the demoscene Discord, and then he made his own Discord, and like Preacher gave him a lot of feedback and stuff like that. And it didn't feel like it changed that much from the original idea, and the original effect that he had with the lions changing faces is just the way that matches everything with the music. It's really, I think, I'm going to say Pixar again. Don't hit me, gargaj. I'm going to have a good point out of this. I think Pixar really works well in having those like intricacy moments and transitions, even from one thing to the other one. But obviously, it's all matching the music, and the music is what really carries it through. It was just masterfully done, masterfully executed. Great, one of the best demos of the party for sure.
I think we'll still talk about this one in 10, maybe 15 years.
Yeah,
And it's like so minimalistic in a way, and like less is more. Feels very much less is more.
Completely, it's exactly like, but still does that like often.
Yeah,
too often for a single group. But it's.
I think you can, if you can make Truck cry with 5 chords on a piano, I think you know something more than others.
Yes. And it's not just the music, like everything here is perfect. The music is fantastic too.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything is like it. You cannot remove like the music itself. It was just the music alone, I would probably be bored. Now, if it was just the visual alone, I will probably not understand the point. And both together make something that we will still talk about it. I will still show this one in 15 years. That's for sure.
It's a good example.
Exactly,
go on.
That's exactly the point about this demo. I think also why it probably spawned a bit controversy about it. It's not very demo-ish in that sense, but this is actually art because it triggers emotions, and you can see that even if you probably don't know all the backgrounds. I mean, it obviously starts at the beginning with remembering somebody, and the title is there by still, but in the end, just if you see how it's arranged, it's still there. So that alone, the last shot with the credits, that alone, if you see it from the start to the end, it just makes sense. And whatever you make out of that is up to you.
But I would argue, or not argue, but sort of just on to piggyback on the point that it's not very demo-ish. I think if you follow more modern sort of digital art, specifically video games, specifically very artistic video games like What Remains of Edith Finch or Manifold Garden, or these kind of newer games that sort of play around with the medium. Those
focus on a concept instead of gameplay.
Not just that, but exploring the idea of visual interaction and new media, where they don't have that sort of shackle where you have a film that kind of have to revolve around actors and shots and cinematography and all that. Instead, you can have like a very representative part of, I don't know, animals, people, sort of, and then directly go into something super abstract because the medium allows you to do it, and that the audience is sort of tuned to that frequency already, rather than expecting, you know, a film to be a film. And I saw a lot of that feeling in it, and I think it by nature of that, to be able to take a subject like this, that is a very human subject, but at the same time move into that abstract art space seamlessly, and then, you know, weave back and forth between the two. I think that's not being done in demos too much either, and I think that's where the genius in it lies, musically as well. To have all these instruments that sort of weave back and forth between organic and very digital sounding and very time stretchy and floaty sounding, to arrange that into this one sort of block that just works. I think that's what makes it a fantastic sort of amalgam of these things. And that's why I think it's way beyond that what we've seen in the scene so far. And I don't expect everyone to, and I don't want to say get it, but I don't expect everyone to appreciate it. I just want everyone to know that we're going to move towards that, whether you like it or not, because that's where the unexplored territory is.
And also, it feels like a bit refreshing for newcomers who feel like they have to do like huge assets and stuff. You can do a lot with very minimalistic things. I mean, this still had some.
It's even harder. Frankly, it's way harder to do that.
Way harder.
Oh my goodness! I don't feel like I don't even want to try to do what Pixel does. Like it's insane. Like the skill is.
I can mostly think of it mostly as a musician. It's really stupidly hard to make an emotional thing out of 3 chords on a piano.
And it's in everything. Like, take any minimal kind of music. You think that it's easy, you try to do the same, and you just fail. Because when it's minimal, everything has to be perfect. The rest you can dive. Like, you can put if you put 100 layers, nobody will like. It will be a soup of something, and eventually it will be mediocre, but it will pass. If you have 2 sounds or 3 sounds, they better sound perfect, and be at the perfect placement, or you are dead. And that's why it's very hard. So, and the same for visuals.
Even the minimal expression of how you press a key on a piano will matter, because there's nothing else to hold it.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think the response is good. At least on Poet, what I see is that people definitely liked it. It took probably way too much time. Like, I wished that they understood what they faced during the compo. Would have saved some drama. But at least on Poets, they have the recognition they deserve, and I think it will just grow, and it will eventually be in the list of...
There was
the
compo drama?
So,
I didn't notice any compo drama about this demo being played. Was there?
Not this one. Not this one.
Okay.
The ranking of the demo compo
okay.
is a bit.
We'll get there. We'll discuss that.
Yeah, but honestly, right after this and the emotional overload, going to MFX is also not fair to MFX, in my opinion.
I just like imagine like you watch Schindler's List and there's Scooter over the end credits.
Yeah,
but frankly, what should have been behind? Like, I think probably nothing.
No, this should have ended the combo.
Yeah, this should have ended. But then, if you end with that, everybody goes cry at home. Like, it would have been depression. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's a hard choice again.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would have wanted to close my show and end my party with something a bit emotional and dark. I don't know.
But at the same time, like, it's not. It's. I think it is in a way uplifting. It's sad. And it's very gripping, but at the same time, I don't think it's tragic.
And still do have the name already to be like the last demo, even if it isn't like the most mind-blowing demo we ever seen. Which this one is. Some people might agree that it's pretty darn good, if I can say so. But I mean, they could get away with being less placed on the less viewed on the compo and pull it off gracefully, I think. Justifiably, that's a better word for it. Anyways, let's take a look at the second place demo, which was A New World Awaits by Pysic and Blink. This one had very interesting use of fractals. It didn't completely convince me, but I'm a skeptic. I did like the shaking camera work and stuff like that. Really made it very immersive, like alien world kind of explorer.
And the foley. Like, all the FX is like
yeah, a little.
I love that. Like, basically, like, just a good idea to walk there, have the wind and all.
Feels more like a documentary instead of a demo.
Exactly.
You should have needed the David Attenborough voiceover. Here we see the manga sponge in its natural habitat.
And this track is very good. Again, we have a lot of solid tracks in the compo, in every compo. But frankly, on the demo, like this.
And it's quite funny how much difference again camera work makes when you have this more like I look into this fractal, I walk through it, compared to the usual and flylight.
Yeah, but then they had the gimbal spin. They had like this great handycam movement and then the gimbal spin. I just like, you're ruining it. And then this just took me out of the immersion. Like you haven't finished showing your stuff. Don't get me into the behind the scenes already.
That would be
Let me see it first.
An interesting lesson from Kasparov. Like, do the whole demo, and then after the demo is done, you can do like the second part demo where you show the tech behind it.
Yeah.
Instead of ruining the immersion.
Yeah, but the visual fidelity is quite insane in this one.
Oh yeah, this was easily the most technically advanced release of Revision. Which, by the way, Meteorix Jury, if you're watching, that can happen on a PC, by the way.
They also had a very interesting write-up about how they did all the stuff, which I also highly recommend you people to check out.
I didn't understand half of it. I'll straight honest with you. Like, I have a vague idea of how it works.
No, it's very good. Plus, he explains very well, so you probably didn't took time to read it perfectly.
No, I think I tried to read the one for the previous one, and I already got lost in that one as well.
Oh, the previous one was harder, I think. This one is actually really readable. He made really extra effort to make it.
Yeah, but it relies on the previous one because it's building on the same tech.
So cool.
So yeah, definitely very solid demo.
That's my favorite shot because this one looked like I love that. This idea is fantastic. Like, there's a different, and different outside noise. Like, really, you are in a, I don't know, Blair Witch Project kind of stuff.
Extra footage kind of thing. So that was a really nice touch to end things. And the first place demo was Arcade by Spectrals. Alkama, tell us a little bit about the story behind this one.
So it's a long one, but let me tell you something. It is a single man club. So what happened is after VX2, we had like all the group was a bit not exhausted, but we wanted to start something. So we started to make a big storyboard for a big demo. And after, let's say, 2 months, life was a bit complex for a lot of Spectral members. And the only remaining one was Steph, hard at work, and me toying with the tool, solidifying it a bit. And basically, we were just 2 of us, and Steph especially, alone working on the demo. So we pivoted to something that was more achievable, especially by himself, because it turned to be a solo demo. And he spent the whole year working on that. And since it was a solo project, he said, yeah, let's make something I like. So basically, what do you
like
do
arcades, I guess.
when it's your second demo ever, and you've never done sign distance field and fragment shader, basically, except the ocean effect on VX2, what do? You do sign distance field. So this demo is actually no models at all. It's 6 fragment shaders, and exactly the same kind of fragment shaders you find in a kind of bonzomatic way. There is no specific extra stuff. There is no models at all, no 3D, no vertex. So it's 6 fragments chained, and the initial idea was to make a single camera pass. Everything done by Steph. Huh?
You do have textures though, or?
Yeah, we have texture. We have the different fragments can be used as buffers, etc. So he did like his personal key is arcade stuff, as you see. So basically, he picked like 100 of his favorite arcade, and he wanted to make an homage, like we all do in a way. Like you're patient in your first production, you try to express what you love, and that's exactly what he did. And after, let's say, maybe 7 months or 8 months, he started to have all the different scenes. And then I started working for the last 3 weeks on the music. And again, like VX2, I did the music on the pictures. So the demo was already there. And I started making the theme. And I remember that YZ had a comment on VX2 saying that it was 10-part graphics, 1 part music. Basically, I didn't do my job because it was monotonous. So I said, I must have fun also, so what will I do? I will do as many music parts as there are parts in the graphics. So I ended up making 6 parts, and it was like insanely complex because there is tempo change. You don't hear it, but the track goes from 124 to 123, and it's enough to decal everything.
That's just one tempo.
Yeah, but one decals everything because I am working on pictures, and basically up to here, it's 124 for everything. And after that, since the cinema, it's 123, and it decals. Because if you pay attention, you will see there is a sound effects for everything on screen. Every single thing has sound effects, and its position exactly how the sound is meant to go. So you will have waves that go left, right, according to the angle of the camera. So we went because we had a lot of time. It was just 2 guys wanting to forget about COVID for 1 year. So it was just like all in, and we didn't really care about anything. It's just like how to occupy our time. And frankly, the fun is that to tell you the truth, when the party started and we saw on the screen that there were pre-selection for every compos this year, the initial thing that Steph said to me is that they will never play your demo. and we said
Wow.
so be it. Like that's life. At least we had fun making it, and that's all that matters to us. Plus, we know that it's a long KIF. 8 minutes is long, but we already said that for VX2 it's way too long, and we say let's do that. Let's have fun together. So basically, it's our KIF. We don't expect anyone in the scene to like it. We don't give a fuck if you like it or not, in a way, because we like doing it. What we like is working on this project together.
Yeah, you should make the
just
demos that
making
you want
what
to
we
see.
like.
This
And
scene really struck me very well. I mean, you recreated all of the different arcades. That was really special.
That's Steph. So it's 100 of the arcades. He made video of 30 seconds of every of these ones, and there should be a secret part in the final where you can play those videos. So it's basically his favorite top 100 arcades in a gallery. And initially, very early on, we said it's a flyby. Everybody will complain it's a flyby. So we added like tons of details. Like you have those sparkles everywhere, hidden objects here and there. The music is full of Easter eggs. I don't even know if people can take it seriously. It's like a gallery of known themes for people to recognize. This part is Alf. That's Alf. So you have Thriller, you have Queen, you have like it is a galore of fun Easter egg. You had the Zarathustra on the
You should
cinema.
do a bingo card like Luguber did for all the tracks that you did. Reference.
Yeah. So
What I
people
like most
take it
is
very
in this
seriously.
part the sound, and when it switches between the ages. So when you go through your next age cycle here, you also switch theme a bit.
Oh, for
more
every scene,
80s
like
and-
every single scene has its own theme in a way. The only connected one are the warehouse and this part where it's basically the same kind of track. But yeah, so it's just how to have fun for a lot of time. What is very sad for us is when people say you exploit nostalgia. We don't really understand. Like it's just our nostalgia. We don't expect anyone to keep. And when I say I mean Steph, because I don't care about arcade at all. So I don't have I'm not from this era, and I don't really care. So it's really his production. So I don't really understand when people see evil and trying to exploit votes. We didn't think it would rank. On Monday, I think Steph didn't even watch the prize giving because we were sure that it wasn't even in the top 6 to be ranked there. So yeah,
I knew it would win. I knew it would
we
win as
didn't.
soon as I saw it.
We didn't, and we still don't know how it happened. We think it's an accident, but it's fine.
No, it's not
we
an
are happy with
It's a crowd pleaser. It's definitely
It's
a crowd pleaser.
yeah.
But the crowd is us first, you know. We are on stage dancing here. We just put we put our favorite groups everywhere. We put our favorite demos in the screen on the revision.
Alkama,
side.
I don't want to worry you, but you look like an arcade dancing there. You don't look like Alkama
Yeah.
anymore. And you do the twist. Holy shit.
Yes, and Steph will do a backflip. You will see that. Look at Steph. So no, who is the winner of this dance battle? No, so frankly, I think a lot of people took it way too seriously.
I think they were expecting a lot from Spectral Space Zone last year.
But it's you have to see. Problem is that a lot of people don't understand. It's a second demo. Remember what was your first fragment shader? This is Steph's first ones. Okay, this is the 6th first of Steph's. What was yours? I don't know. Mine was horrible.
Yeah, mine
what
didn't
was
look
my
like
second
this.
demo?
Mine
It was
didn't win
horrible.
revision, that's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
Right.
So that was to give you background.
So first off, let me just for disclaimer, Steph actually found me on Discord and he apologized for the demo, and my mind was blown. Like, dude,
He
what
apologized.
are you doing?
He apologized
Yes!
to you for the demo?
Yes, for some reason I don't know
For what?
why.
For polluting Puet?
I didn't even
we-
see it.
I apologize to CCE and Pixar because I think those
for having
ones are.
fun, okay.
Yeah, of course. So we don't apologize
No,
for doing it. We will never apologize for doing it because we had the best of time. Like, frankly, together, it was awesome working together. And basically, the day after we started another one, It's not a big news, but of course we will do another one with more members this time if they can, because it's still COVID time. But for us, it was survival. It was a year of we need to keep our heads to something else than the current situation, and it was a good way to lose our time and and put some efforts on something. So
the thing is, like, I understand that emotions obviously run high, and of course everyone's way more vocal than they should be, probably myself included. But at the same time, you should never apologize for making something, and I don't think you should apologize for winning either. Because it wasn't your choice, right? You just blamed.
We certainly didn't ask we didn't ask the voting system. We voted, but personally, I also
they're
voted
not
for
Razer. They're not Razer,
NSX.
okay?
Yeah, but it's like people just vote and then you just accept the results.
No, but you have to understand what is a bit hard for us is when we read comments about the fact that it's wrote around the age, it's fine. Comments about the techniques, it's fine, and you know the explanation, you know. Basically, we know that it's not perfect, and we don't expect, like, it's far from being perfect, but it's, for us, it's still cool to have done it as a process. What was a bit hurting us, and a lot hurting us, is when people say we exploit nostalgia on COVID time. And what is a bit strange is this is for me, frankly,
shouldn't matter if it's COVID or not COVID. And it shouldn't matter if you're exploring nostalgia or not. If you like to do demos about nostalgia, that's fine. I mean,
no, but it's not the same.
A lot of assembly compo winners were exploiting
demo about
nostalgia.
Is what we did, because this is Steph's nostalgia on display, and this is mine in every single track, making track like that. So it's fine. I'm talking to my childhood. I'm making tracks that I liked in the 80s and 90s, and I'm okay with it. I'm not like, it's fine. What I'm saying is that. What I read on Poet is more like there is an intention of exploiting people, like having you vote for us because of that nostalgia. And that is a very terrible, wrong assumption. We didn't even believe who would be played. So thinking that you would vote because of that, like, it's, for people that are newcomers, it's a bit strange. Like, maybe in 10 years, I will start to plot. Like, they do all the mistakes they can on the demo scene. They sell votes on VX2. They had comment with sell vote and got bashed for that.
I think we have a long history on the demo scene of compo winners having been nostalgia kind of things, and there's a bit of internal hatred from some people towards that, mostly because of assembly. I think a lot of assembly winners were like big nostalgia players, apart from ASD, of course, but at least that's how I feel. I don't know. Gargaj, you wanted to say something?
So many things. Now I completely lost my train of thought. But so I think when you say assembly winners, I think you really mean Unreal Voodoo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Lego Mania and stuff like that in the I guess it's late 90s, not really the most recent assembly, to be fair.
Yeah. So the thing is, you say you wouldn't expect to be played and like no one would get this nostalgia. First off, I think the general average age is closer to yours than mine.
Yeah, but mine doesn't include arcade. I never played arcade.
But everyone knows like every single game on those arcades came out on Atari and Commodore and all that. It's the same thing. It's it's the Ready Player One syndrome. But I think I don't mean this negatively, but it is a bit naive to think that this is what not was obvious winner from the word go. Like, it was obvious to me.
To us, really, frankly, I can tell you, like, we even have the logs where we are like on Discord, we are like, can we expect anything? And we are like, maybe we can have like maybe third place if we are really lucky. And that was the best we could imagine. And yeah, and when the first message arrived, like, we will pre-select at this revision, we were like, okay. He even started not watching revision because he was so sure that it wasn't going to be played. So
I can understand if you say you didn't expect to win. Okay, that's one thing. But to be afraid of being pre-selected for a piece of work that is you can see just the amount of work that went into that.
No,
I mean, for
but
that
8
sheer
minutes.
effect alone, never in my personal
8
history or probably in demoscene history has something been pre-selected where work was spent into, even if it's crap in the end. And this is not crap.
Alcyon Chimera is a fantastic production, and it was deselected from assembly. So I
but
come
it
from an
was-
era where fantastic
It was very
draws were-
minimalistic, and there were a lot of hatred towards art
And
in demos
it was
back
fan-
then.
it was
But it was
fantastic.
also assembly.
And it
Yeah,
was
but-
assembly.
Assembly has a voting jury. You have to remember that. That
No,
assembly
but
doesn't.
yeah. But
It's
this one,
a very different process.
they had a very short timing in revision. Like if you look at the initial time, you see that there is only 1 hour for demo. I remember revision where there were 40 entries in demo, official revision. And we said last year there weren't a lot of entries. Probably they will not wait 1 year more, like Gopher said. They will probably all just drop because it's the only big event that is still in the COVID time. So we expected everybody to drop a prod. And if you have 40 prods and 1 hour to play, the 8-minute one, it will be trashed away.
There was one demo that was entirely in Finnish and hand-drawn. I think your frame of reference is entirely stupidly biased. So, but like putting that aside, I think it was obvious because let's how to put this? It uses a common denominator for a computer-based culture that we all know and understand. I think even people who are just like 18, 20 now, in the scene, are aware of the history, right? Of the arcade cabinets, of the home computing, of, everyone knows Donkey Kong, everyone knows Pac-Man, right? Even if I know of Pac-Man, it's older than me, right? It's just a common denominator. And there's a reverence to it. I think the same way, people like Star Wars, that's older than all of us, It's just one of those things. I think it's perfect, and you shouldn't apologize for it. It's just something that
again we don't apologize for making it, because this is what saved our life. Like frankly, we would have been we'll probably be attached somewhere in a dark cave if we hadn't that for this year together, and we still keep, because it's still going on, so we're still doing it every night, and we never even stopped. So it's our way. It's our way. It's we don't expect people to agree with what we did, but at least it's our way.
Let me say what I think made the tension so high about it is that Still clearly did a demo that was way off what we were used to, and then what you did was the most middle of the road thing, right? And you can be completely proud of it, right? It's a shit ton of work. Like I would not imagine to do that amount of work.
Because we have time.
So
when you have 1 year, you have time to do whatever. And we have one project.
There's this incredible contrast between what you say, and I think people who understood the Still demo to be, I don't want to use the word groundbreaking, but I think it was. Then they contrast it to this middle of the road, nostalgia show. And I think most of them were like, there's not even a comparison, right? So how come, but they also knew that the nostalgia show is going to win, because most people are not.
It has a lot more work put into it as well.
No, for me, it was clear. For me, the winners, honestly, when we saw the basic and when we saw the MFX and when we saw the Still, it was again in all. We are happy with what we did, but you have to be fair. Those one are fantastic productions that will be remembered for a long, long time. And this is just a single man production with me as a helper. But it's a single guy production, and he can do so much. I think he did fantastic for what he did alone. It's quite fantastic. I don't think I would make 8-minute things alone, with so many details and all, even in SDF as a first shader. But yeah, so but again, only we accept every argument. The only one we are really sad about is when we say we exploit people. And what is a bit strange for us is the exploitation part. If you think about it, we are the only one accused of that. Because like if you look like all the production with Amiga bar, nobody says, oh, another Amiga bar or what else, or you exploit a childhood of people because you do a computer. If I take the fantastic 8K of LG Gopher and all, like you do exactly the same theme. I don't think you took any comment. It's fantastically done. Your cabinets are insane. It's a crazy product. I don't think it's the same level, like basically, but we don't care. What I mean is that nobody told you in your comments, oh, you are exploiting people's nostalgia.
I think the nostalgia thing might also have been because of the eWork reference, that we were inside the eWork. So again, that might have played a big role into that as well. People have a bad taste. Oh, we can't go to the war, and they're putting it there. So
but if you know the thing, think about it. You are a new demo group. You never made any demo. You win a revision last year. Okay, and you cannot even see your production on a big screen. You cannot be at revision when you expected to be there and to present the demo there. Basically.
People were saying, this doesn't look like eWork. Yeah, because they weren't there physically.
And they have never, and the more fun is, what is fun for me is that the dimension feel pretty fine for someone that never put a single bit in there. Like you watch videos of revision fantasizing about what it is to be there together there. So the fun is that, like, yeah, so for me, it's beyond what I'm really only sad about is when people make wrong assumption and always assume the worst and the worst intention. That's very sad. No. For the rest, say whatever you want about the technicalities, say whatever you want about the music, say that you don't like it, I'm fine. It's okay. That's a game. But well, that was my 2 cents.
I think both sides of that coin can be true. I think you can hit a nerve unknowingly. I think you can make something that ends up resonating without you trying to do that. I think, like when they say, "Oh, you're exploiting nostalgia," you can do that without meaning to.
I know, but there are different kind of comments. When there are comments saying, "I am really bored about synthwaves and 80s reference," perfectly fine. When there is comment saying, "I don't like, I immune to this nostalgia," or it's wrongly done, it doesn't respect my nostalgia of the thing, I'm fine with it. Again, it's more like you intentionally exploited that as a way to get votes. That is a bit like, this is really like we are prostitute or what, like we are buying votes or something.
That actually sounds like those conspiracy theories, no pun intended, about about like things like COVID, and that originated from. It's more like people cannot explain maybe why it won, and they cannot explain it because it's just not their personal taste.
Yeah.
And so they think like the only reason this could have won at all is by random theory.
But they can just say, I don't like it, and it's perfectly fine. Or I don't like it because I don't like this and that, and that's perfect for me. Like there is no, or just like it doesn't work.
What they didn't like was not the demo, but the placing that it got. Like they feel like it's their problem. Yeah.
But at the same time, like blame the 800 voters.
Yeah.
Don't blame the demo makers. Like that's the. I told Steph like when
Winner Demo won by MetalVots, it's not MetalVots' fault that they won. People were voting for that. It's the same thing.
Yes. Plus the cool thing is that the voting is not about like just putting. You can vote for all the demo you like, right? I voted for the others too. I voted for mine too because I'm happy with what we've done. But I also you can vote. It's not like a ranking system where you have to choose a winner in the voting system. So overall, it's not I don't know, but yeah.
I think the other ones were a lot more bipolarly divided, that either you really liked them or you really didn't. And this one was you would always appreciate the hard effort that was put into it and the quality of production into it.
On that note, it's worth mentioning that in the party favorite competition, still actually placed ahead of you. Which, by the way, gives for an interesting, little math.
Was it an extra? I didn't vote, so I don't know. Was it an extra voting category for the best?
Yeah,
party?
you can choose for any prod as your party favorite, and there are like 33 people taking the steal, and we are still surprised that, like, I don't know how much we ranked third in our case, like 3 people, or like I think 30 people selected ours as being party favorite.
Mhm.
We are crazy. Like for us, it's insane. Like what is insane is more than the reaction is insane in both directions. Like
Yeah, it was 32 for you and 33 for Still.
so which
And
means
34 for us.
yeah, no. But
So
it's a strange ranking system. Just 1 point or
Yeah, it was
one
just-
more people.
yeah.
I wondered what would have happened if Evil's shader would have been a legitimate option in that thing, because for me that was the party moment.
Yes. Most probably.
Potentially, that's something to consider for next year. Maybe, I don't know.
Me, I can say I didn't vote for party favorite because for me it was like there are too many good things.
Yeah, it's
I
hard
cannot
to-
like this year. I cannot pick one. Like it's impossible. Just in demo, the MFX, the Stel, and the CCE one, like basic, they are like fantastic. Like
pick the
for
favorite
different
of your
reasons.
pick the favorite of your children. It's really hard to pick one.
I don't have children, so I cannot
Okay,
do that. But
pick the favorite of your music albums. It's really hard to pick one favorite single best
Impossible.
one. So
Impossible.
for me, it's the same feeling. Anyways, we're about out of time. Any last messages or topics you guys would like to talk about?
Make
Gopher?
demos.
Yeah, and don't ever be ashamed of that.
Yeah, don't be
Yeah.
ashamed. Yeah, that's an
Sometimes-
important topic that we should reiterate. Do whatever
Sometimes
demo
you
you
should.
want to
Or
do.
don't let people shame you for doing it. But
Yeah,
anyway,
it's their
do
problem. They
demos.
don't have to see your demo. No one is forcing them to see it. They can walk
Well,
away.
that's not true. You just forced us to watch 2 hours of it.
Yeah, but you could have muted it. You accepted the terms. You accepted.
we said yes to the invitation.
So it was on you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's the same is true for people who buy tickets. To a party.
I mean,
go
you
to a
can
party and-
you can go drink a beer or something. I mean, we got a lot of shit doing art demos for that as well. Oh, you're forcing me to watch this noise thing. You don't have to watch it. You can go away. And online, it's even easier. You just mute or turn off the screen for 4 or 5 minutes, and then you come back. You don't have to watch it. No one is forcing you to watch it. So be respectful of the people creating. And that's the beauty of the demo scene. You can do whatever demo you want to do. It's open in that way. At least that's how I feel about the demo scene.
and then Truck will come on your show and tell you that you're doing it wrong. The only time.
Gargaj, you just don't know how to make your own demos, Gargaj. You need to learn how to make your own demos.
Yeah. The only, when they say like, "Oh, go make a demo about it," turns out they don't want you to.
No, it turns out they don't want you to. They can tell you that they don't
absolutely don't want you to do that. They say that. But they
Please don't make a demo about
To be
it.
fair to Truck, his point was something else, and he misrepresented what you wrote, in my opinion, and that's what I told him at the live. But anyways, let's try to be fair on Truck on that regard. But yeah, that was a funny moment, and I think Gargaj will forever use that to poke on Truck a little bit more. Anyways, go for it. Any last words overall about Revision? Maybe what did you feel about the party this year or the compos? How did you feel about winning the 256 bytes?
That I don't apologize for that.
And you should.
I
You
happily
don't have
take
You
that.
capitalized on nostalgia of doing ray tracing in 256 bytes. Who the hell runs
And
DOS
shadows,
anyways?
you made shadows.
What did I
maybe.
think? No, seriously. First of all, congratulations to you two. That was well deserved, and also I think Revision this year was quite a bit better than last year, for probably the reasons I said before. I was really looking forward to the party, also for the fact that after 1 year of this shit going on, this was some point in time where you could say, however this will happen, it will happen, and that just gave me some joy and something to look forward to. And yeah, I hope next year won't be the 3rd year in a row that we have to stay at home. It's about time we meet again.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the summer parties, because a lot of countries already seem to have the vaccinations in order. So I'm wondering how many more parties will be live this year, if it's not just going to be Function, but a whole other different parties out there. So I'm curious about that.
Nova.
Yeah, Nova was already thinking of, but still waiting to see. I asked Ruari about it a couple of days ago, and he was saying at the end of May they're going to decide if they're going to go live or not.
the UK is already closing into 50% vaccination, so I think they have a better chance than Germany, because Germany is kind of phoning it in.
They probably won't have like people flying in to go to the party though.
That's a good
We'll see.
start.
We'll
Like,
have to see.
it's-
Yeah, definitely. I think
Anyway, I
after
think,
2 years of confination, I
yeah,
think
no,
we don't really care about that. We're happy just to have
Actually-
our local scene together.
If the vaccination passport things are as advertised, I think they might even allow people in. Like I know my mom told me today that they sent mine out, so
Okay.
I technically have a vaccination passport, even though I haven't gotten the second shot yet. So
You can go Brexit in now, if you want.
no, I don't know, because there's a lot of like legal weirdness around whether that's like what exactly the terms are.
Yeah.
Hopefully by the summer it gets clearer. But yeah, I think certain countries will do a lot better than others, and I don't expect like UK will do good. Ironically, the US is doing great.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then the mainland Europe is not doing great at all. So I wouldn't hold my breath for Outline or Evoke. Evoke might have be lucky enough in the sense that they're late enough, in August, that maybe things more normalize, vaccinations get started as well. But yeah, I don't expect party organizers to be able to comfortably say, oh well, we're organizing this until like November or something at best. And every time you have to realize, like every time in this last 1.5 years, every time we made a bet, it was way off.
Yeah. But now we do have the horizon of the vaccinations. I think there will still be another wave, even with vaccinations, though, because people will start being careless and other strains and that kind of stuff. So there's probably going to be another wave. Yeah,
they're saying the British strain might be able to go through the Pfizer vaccine as well. Like they have only have 60% resistance against it or something. So yeah, it's going to be the ride continues to be rough.
Yeah. Any last words on revision itself this year? The compos. What last final words you want to chime in, Gargaj?
I mean, I don't mean to sound like dark about this, but like I didn't realize how much I missed the on-location experience until the 64K compo ended. Twitch malarkey notwithstanding. Just this idea, the thing that sort of hit me a bit hard is this moment of like, oh, we did this intro and it was great, and we finally had this release and we were waiting for the catharsis. But then I looked around and I'm in my room. The party is in this small screen. I can mute it, I can turn it off. But
you have Discord pinging with people saying congratulations.
I talk to people, but it's not the same as the facial expressions,
of course,
as the noise, as the bass going through your fucking rib cage. It has that of being in another country, just that experience alone, and standing outside looking at the. Talking to people next to the stupid hot dog stand, like just
I miss the fucking hot dog stand. I don't even eat hot dogs, but I need to be next to it.
but that's just it. Like that's when I realized like how important that used to be, to be able to just go out and hang out with people and talk.
Yeah, Chuck also started crying about that. Like, this is the part where I would go around and tell everyone how awesome their productions is, and I can't do it this year. And that's really sad. So yeah, that's definitely one of the... And you were a big critic of online parties, Gargaj, in that regard, that you really missed the physical one.
Yeah, I continue. Oh, I don't want to say critic in the sense that they shouldn't happen, because like...
It didn't feel like you were enjoying the online experience as much as you could take away from it.
Exactly. I mean, last year's revision was kind of like a last minute thing. So everyone was like, okay, fine. Like this is what it is, right? But like the remainder of the year, I just didn't feel like any of them were like I didn't feel like they
you should have made something for Inertia Demo Party. That was your downfall.
I don't feel like I had a downfall.
It's a joke, gargaj. It's a joke. Anyways, any last stuff you want to say about the compos and
No, I think yeah, the compos showed this is what happens when you lock people in their rooms for a year. Yeah, all I can say is that I really realize that I miss people, and I hope that the next time will be on site. And you know, these last 1.5 years taught us not to get our hopes high, because every time we got our hopes high, I think it was with an unhealthy dose of optimism that didn't work out in the end. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think it proved it to me that like the real experience is the real experience, and being able to disconnect from the computer is just that added bonus that we all need. I think people underestimate that feeling of you see that outside the scene as well, that everyone is having birthdays on Zoom calls and everything, and it's you know, people always feel a bit reluctant about it. It's like, yeah, you know, we saw the family, it was kind of nice, you know, they took up 100 pixels, sure, it was great, but it's not the same as much as I hate, you know, being crammed in a minivan for 14 hours to go through the Autobahn. And then sleeping under a desk and stuff like that. You just realize that it provides a commitment that you're putting in, and that commitment is due to the fact that you want to see those people who are your friends, and you want to be in the same sort of air, in the same room as the friend. You want to be in the same 15-meter radius as your friends.
Yeah, share the experience.
Because you care about them that much, and you want to, and they care about you that much. And as shitty as the situation is, I think that's what the scene will have to take away from this, is that like, yeah, we did the best we could during these times, which, let's face it, none of the planet was used to. But in the end, I think if revision happens, you know, in the normal way, you know, quote unquote normal, because it's going to be close to normal, it probably won't be the same normal. It's going to be disturbingly packed, probably, and it's going to be really stupidly fucking emotional.
That's for sure. I think we will all cry when we go back to
I think it's going to be really fucking emotional.
That will be terrible.
And we will share many drinks, and we'll be all sick when we get home.
No, because what is
hopefully the okay kind of sick, not the
the usual post party.
the usual kind of sick.
Not the worst, the end of the worst. No, but frankly, I don't know how we managed last year to have a revision. Last year, I think we were still a bit. Everybody was hammered by not understanding what was happening everywhere.
Yeah.
So there was still a bit of like, not a joy, but yeah, let's cope. Let's still do something. And prod-wise it was not as fantastic as.
Yeah.
No, this year we have
it was still pretty good. I was expecting last year to be even less than it was.
No, I think it was still the best demo party of the year. That's for sure. Like prod-wise, it was like loaded with cool stuff. So, but
the
like,
other parties suffered a bit. If you look at the whole
see
year, you see there was a very big focus on revision and then a few trickling ones. Actually, the interesting thing was that a lot of smaller demo parties like Inertia and Flash Party, since they finally had the ability of the whole scene focusing on them, they had a lot more participation, and it was a lot more interesting.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Like, people can contribute from outside without being at the party place, which helped some outside people to present production. Not so much, but still a bit, which is still I think a good idea. No, I don't think when the thing starts to be again on site, I don't think we should. I don't know if we should lift the rule of having someone there at least to present your production.
I mean, that rule could always be bent. You always had someone that you could contact.
Yeah, no, I know. I've been BBS at Evoke for an Amiga production, so I know what you're talking about. But no, the fun thing is that this year was way better, I think, is in production quality. But feelings-wise, we are all tired. We are all tired of all the events everywhere. It has worn us a lot in every single aspect. We can try to deny it, but I think it doesn't help. It feels everywhere. You see it in every thread, in every thread everywhere. You see tensions, and I'm not talking about specific topics here. I'm not talking about. I think people don't behave like they usually would do, and it shows in every single aspect in what they produce. So it can bring good stuff also. I think we saw productions that exist probably because of this tension too. But yeah, so and I cannot wait that we find again the party place, because we all miss it. Even people that weren't there ever are missing it. And I can tell you that it's even better than what you dream about, because frankly,
yeah, there are
it's
some new
not describable.
seniors. There are some new seniors doing productions that never been to a party place, and they're actively doing productions for stuff.
And they have
awesome.
high expectation of the revision, because I heard a lot of things about it.
We
All I
will
can
make
say
sure
is
that we match their expectations.
Yeah, no, they cannot, like, even the past revision already was surpassed by a far margin what they can imagine, because it's insane. Frankly, this event is insane, and it cannot be explained, because you can only tell a few stories about a few things that happened. But if you look at the big picture, you see that it's really a one.
So for World is not an entirely accurate representation.
Oh
of the
no,
feeling.
it's
a bit
fun
more.
one.
It's a bit more.
It has a legend. It has a legend sauce, like when you see the toilet tunnel and all, when you see the fun games, and all. But nothing like waking up on I don't know, a Sunday morning, completely wasted because you danced all night, and sawing some Eastern guy throwing some tiny sausage with vodka at 7 a.m. And you are like completely like, I just need a coffee, and you walk by a table of other people eating like straight sausages and vodka at 7 a.m. And you're like, what is happening? Like, what is this place?
Probably Polish.
Oh, yes. And some Finns sleeping by the fire, you know, like the infamous bonfire. And you always have dead Finns there. like it's like, what? It's insane. This event is insane.
The interesting part will probably be if we can get back to a party, and before that we have a relief on all those restrictions we have in our social life. So we go out and meet all the other friends we probably also have. So we have no time for demo making. So we are happy to meet all at the demo party and hugging and cheering, but we all have no demos because we were busy meeting all the families and friends before.
Just came here to socialize. Just gonna do a fast demo later on.
And also we are not used to drinking anymore, I guess. At least I'm not. So that will be a short fun.
We will have Club Mate. It will be okay. We have Club Mate and Apple Zaft at Revision 2. We even have water if you need. All we need is hugs and good talk and being together for 4 days and be completely crazy.
It will be a revision you'll never remember.
But it will be epic. No, because Pooh Brain will make a video of it, and you will realize what you've done during those 4 days forever.
Yeah, but then it will get thrown off Twitch again.
So the video will not be available afterwards, anyways. Anyways,
no,
we have to wrap up.
Finns are not zombie, but some Finns are actually sleeping by the bonfire at strange hours because they are completely wasted, and that's my highlight of revision: to see people sleeping in open air because it was fine.
Just taking a little nap after partying until 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's something that you look at and you go, I would have a really hard time explaining this to anyone.
Yes, but it makes sense in a way.
I find this hilarious. I find this amazing, and I hope I don't have to explain this to anyone ever.
Exactly.
Anyways, time to wrap up. Alkama, any last thoughts beyond what we already been discussing? Or
no, it's good to see you, and I hope we meet again soon enough. I don't know when, I don't know where. Hopefully at Evoke or Nova, maybe.
I'll give you a big hug, that's for sure.
But yes, we just need that to be together.
Also, please get vaccinated.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Okay, so that's it for this Mystery Demoscene Theater. Hope you people enjoyed in the chat. Thank you for guests, Gopher, Gargaj, and Alkama. Pleasure to have you, all three of you. And that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.